Breakfast is on the pregame menu at Ames. So is water. Hydration a necessity today on a hot, sticky day in Ames, Iowa, as we welcome you to ABC's College Football presented by Walmart. The fifth-ranked team in college football on the road today. Oklahoma and Iowa State squaring off in their Big 12 opener. The Cyclones haven't beaten the Sooners here since 1960, but last year in Norman they pulled the upset. Baker Mayfield and company built an 11-point lead at half, but Kyle Kemp went off in the second half. 3 touchdowns after intermission, the last coming to Allen Lazard with just over 2 minutes to play and a 7-point Iowa State win. And welcome to the booth, Dave Pasch alongside Greg McElroy, Tom Lugan, Bill in a minute. We certainly want to send our thoughts and prayers to those affected by the storm, which has forced the cancellation and postponement of a dozen games or so. Greg, last year Oklahoma had one of the best offenses in the country. They had Baker Mayfield who won the Heisman and was the #1 pick in the draft. But is it possible that with Kyler Murray, a dual threat at quarterback, that they're even more explosive here this year?
Kyler Murray's outstanding, and he is, at any one given time, the smallest player on the field, but he's also the most exciting. This offense has transitioned a little bit. They used the RPO last year, run pass option. Now it's more just run option. Still have the counter read play right here. You can see reading the end man on the line of scrimmage, and he is put into space. That space used to be occupied by a slant by Mark Andrews. No longer, because Kyler Murray does a great job of reading the zone read in the backfield.
Yeah, he certainly does, and here's why, Greg. When he gets the snap, he doesn't bring the ball to the back. He puts the ball here, so when the back approaches stop, he makes that read, and you avoid any miscommunication on whether you should give it or keep it. So now when he comes through, this is an RKO, run-keep option.
That's Kyler Murray, the quarterback for Iowa State. Kyle Kemp, the hero last year. He's hurt. He's not playing today. So Zeb Noland makes his second career start for the Cyclones. We'll be back with the kickoff after this message and a word from our ABC stations. 84 degrees at 11 a.m. local time. It feels like 90 with the humidity. Fifth-ranked Oklahoma and Iowa State. The Cyclones' first game got canceled because of weather, so they started on the road at Iowa last week, so a very difficult schedule to start the season. Meanwhile, Oklahoma crushed FAU and UCLA. Iowa State won the toss, and the Cyclones will get the ball first. Johnny Lang is deep for Iowa State. And this is going to be a touchback. It will come out to the 25. So we mentioned Kyle Kemp, the hero from last year's win over Oklahoma, gets hurt against the Hawkeyes last week. An injured knee. They said all week that he was day-to-day, but he will not go today. So Zeb Noland, who started a game last year when Kemp was hurt and beat Baylor. He also came in relief of Kemp against Oklahoma State and played well. Sophomore from outside of Athens, Georgia, will get the start today at home. Kemp, the very cerebral player. He will be missed today, but coaches are high on Noland, and they're going to keep it on the ground with their best player, David Montgomery, taken off on first down. One of the best running backs in the Big 12, a gain of 16. That'll certainly help Zeb Noland if they get that running game going. Noland played for his dad in high school. His dad, a former quarterback himself at Appalachian State. Noland with time. Floats it up there for 6'6" Hakeem Butler. 24 yards.
Zeb Noland is described by this coaching staff as a confident young man. Almost too confident, they said, from time to time. He's going to push the ball down the field to these big wide receivers. Right there, getting off to a nice start by hitting Butler.
So in 2 plays, they're already inside the OU 35. Here's Crony, the number 2 running back, and he's dropped after a short gain. Told you that Zeb Noland is from Athens and played for his father. His dad did not make the trip today, concerned about the weather, obviously, and that's why I wasn't sure he'd be able to get back home. Zeb was a great player in high school from Watkinsville, Georgia. As we mentioned, played for his father. Thrown 11 passes this year. Had an ACL injury 2 years ago. He was 66 passes a year ago. On 2nd and long. Crony into a wall, dumped at the 31, only 2 yards. Amani Bledsoe made the hit.
And Zeb Noland is a talented kid, more talented than Kyle Kemp, the starting quarterback. But where Zeb Noland has been inefficient over the course of his career is with his ability to manage the game, taking what the defense gives him, reading through his progressions, knowing where his outlets are. Kyle Kemp, the starter, has actually been a huge help to Zeb in his development, trying to see whether or not that development pays off against what is an improved Oklahoma defense today.
And the first test for him today. OU brings pressure on 3rd and long. Nolan gets the pass away. But a nice open field tackle on Chase Allen. That was Mark Jackson in coverage, making the stop. And so it's 4th down and about 4. They're going to keep the offense on the field, it looks like. What do you think of this decision?
I like it. And you have the number 5 team in the country where field position doesn't really matter, and field goals are not going to beat the Sooners. You have to be aggressive on the offensive side of the football.
They also have a field goal kicker who doesn't have a lot of experience. Maybe that's part of the reason for this decision on 4th down. Nolan taking a shot here, overthrows the receiver. Tried to hit Matthew Eaton, who is in one-on-one coverage with Parnell Motley. It's kind of an interesting call there on 4th and 4 to take a shot down the field.
But this is what Iowa State is. They have length at wide receiver that you don't see really anywhere in the Big 12. They have Hakeem Butler, who's 6'6". They have Eaton, who's 6'4". They're going to make their hay in the passing game on vertical one-on-ones down the field to allow those big, long, wide receivers opportunities to jump up and catch the football. So that's their bread and butter. That's what they do. Not surprised to see them go to it on a 4th and 4 situation. Just surprised to see Zeb Noland overthrow his wide receiver instead of underthrow and allow the big body Eaton to jump up and catch it.
Right, because he had a 4-inch height advantage on the defensive back. So here's Kyler Murray, who was electric last week against UCLA, accounted for 5 touchdowns in the game. They're going to hand it off to Trey Sermon. The helmet goes flying. Sermon tackled at the 35, a 6-yard run. Murray is from Allen, Texas. Transferred from Texas A&M. He started 3 games for A&M in 2015, but they are all at home. He started 1 game last year because Baker Mayfield was suspended, at least to start the game against West Virginia. So this is his first collegiate road start.
He's so exciting to watch, so difficult to contain in the open field, and has progressed significantly as a passer over the first 2 games.
They'll swing it out here to Sermon. So they're getting him 2 touches early on. He's replacing an injured Rodney Anderson, a penalty marker down. Anderson is out for the year with a knee injury.
All right, guys, they're going to get Ben Powers here.
Offense, number 72, 10-yard penalty, replay 1st down.
Let's keep an eye on Ben Powers. Number 72, you can see him right there as he's trying to secure that edge. Clearly right there you can see it. Draped on the defender, and you see when a defender's arm goes wide, it usually means his jersey's getting grabbed. So a good call by the official.
So it's 2nd down and 14 for Murray. He's going to take off here. He's an incredible athlete past the 30-yard line. And the top 10 pick of the Oakland A's in the most recent Major League draft. Got a signing bonus of $4.6 million. In fact, he's making almost as much as his head coach, and he's making more than Iowa State's head coach this year.
It's amazing. He's a special talent, man. So versatile. Watching him in high school, I know Tom covered them closely as our recruiting director nationally. He's as good a high school quarterback as many say they've ever seen, and is so incredibly elusive. And like I said a second ago, has gotten better each and every year as a passer.
The crowd revved up here for 3rd down and 5. Murray going to swing it out to Brown and makes the cut to get the first down. They're going to mark it at the 40-yard line. His forward progress took him past the line to gain.
Good job by Brown, understanding how much yards he needed for the first down. Also, you got to give credit too to Greg Eisworth, the safety for Iowa State. Tackling Brown in the open field is almost impossible. Everyone's learned that over the last 2 years, but Eisworth was able to bring him down for minimal yards, but still a fresh set for the Sooners.
This is a defense that fundamentally sound. They play awfully hard for John Haycock, the defensive coordinator. On 1st and 10, Sermon gets the call again. Makes one guy miss, forward for about 4 yards. So Kyler Murray was a terrific high school player. He never lost a game as a starter. National High School Player of the Year in 2014. We talked about his time at Texas A&M. He threw more interceptions than touchdowns. Transferred to Oklahoma and is a junior in terms of his eligibility. Play fake. Murray looking. Now takes a shot down the field. Incomplete off the fingertips of CeeDee Lamb. That was a catchable ball, and Lamb had 2 guys beat downfield.
Just working off play action, and CeeDee Lamb, so fast and elusive. You see a little slight hesitation. He gets on top of Eisworth, the free safety. Just a little bit more air under that football to allow Lamb to run underneath it, and that's a touchdown. Little adrenaline going early on the road for Kyler Murray led to the long incompletion.
Picked up a 3rd and 5 earlier on this drive. On 3rd and 7, Murray with time again. Wide open in the middle of the field for a first down as Marquise Brown gets a block. Past the 20 and to the 10-yard line. A 47-yard pass play on 3rd down and 7.
You're going to see just gigantic disappearance in the middle. You see mesh routes underneath, and Murray actually works over the middle to Brown, which is the 3rd guy in the progression, and Brown does the rest. You mentioned how good he is in the open field. He's the fastest guy out there, and he's so difficult to contain, and has really progressed and become a more well-rounded receiver this year, where he's willing to go over the middle and is a lot more exceptional when making tight, contested catches with really tight coverage.
1st and goal from inside the 10-yard line. Here's Sermon, stumbles but keeps the feet alive. Down to the 3-yard line. He's looked good running the football so far. Sophomore from Marietta, Georgia, replacing the injured Rodney Anderson. That poor kid, he's had so many injuries. He missed most of 15 and last year. Anderson thought this was going to be his year to go off. He did make the trip today to Ames.
So disappointed to see him go down last week. He's one of the best backs in college football. I mean, he really is. And there is a drop-off from Rodney Anderson to Trey Sermon. Now, Trey Sermon actually had more opportunities in the beginning of the 2017 season, but he was a little banged up in the spring, and he's trying to regain his form here in week 3.
On 2nd and goal, Murray rolling out. And now Murray throws it away. Calcaterra was in the area, but looked like Murray knew he was going to run out of room, so he just threw it in the dirt.
I tell you what, Greg, the thing about Kyler Murray is what we've seen poise, we've seen pocket movement, we've seen him, despite his diminutive stature, see the field well, and then understand the situation in the red zone. Don't take risks with the football, live to play the next down, get to this critical 3rd down right here.
And also, too, Tom, the play is never over when he's on the field. You might think he's contained and he'll make something miraculous happen, so you have to play all the way through the whistle when Kyler Murray's a quarterback.
9th play of the drive. Murray with time. Now the pocket breaks down. Murray passes back into the air, incomplete. Deflected at the line of scrimmage, and it's 4th down.
In this part of the field, when you only rush 3 defenders, you have 8 guys in coverage, which means there's not a lot of places to go with the football. Now, you saw linebackers trigger as Kyler Murray broke the pocket, which added additional rush and slowed the process and quickened the process, Still nowhere to go home with it. And a good job by Iowa State's defense.
That was Willie Harvey who got the deflection. Now Austin Seibert gets Oklahoma on the board first with a 21-yard field goal. 3-0 Sooners midway through the 1st. It's a really big day for the Big 12. We've got conference games early with Oklahoma on the road, Boise State, Oklahoma State later today. TCU plays Ohio State tonight on ABC, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. We saw the Buckeyes week 1. I know Urban Meyer is not back full-time, but under Ryan Day, they haven't missed a beat offensively.
No, they haven't. And Ohio State, just talent-wise, just 1 to 85 scholarship players, rivals anybody in college football in talent. They are exceptionally talented. But they're going to be playing against an extremely well-coached TCU team tonight that has a knack for playing teams very close.
Although we all think that Ohio State's going to smoke them with that said, right? Well, David Montgomery, as good of a player as he is, he was such a joy to talk to yesterday. His eyes lit up when we brought up his young friend Hunter Erb, a 6-year-old who has a rare disease called pulmonary vein stenosis. And Hunter came to practice one time. David Montgomery brought him in there, gave him the football. They watched him score. He's kept in touch with him. He goes and visits him. Because of the disease, Hunter doesn't come to the games. There's no cure for the disease. He would need either a liver or heart transplant. Montgomery says he's always thinking and praying for him. First down on the Iowa State 25-yard line. Here is Montgomery. He drags a defender with him for 2 yards.
I really have enjoyed watching him progress over the last year and change. And Montgomery's developed into one of the best backs and one of the most underrated backs in the entire country. He reminds me a lot of Rex Burkhead, where he's very good in the passing game. He can be used as a wide receiver, and he always seems to be falling forward. He's an exceptional player for the Clones.
Play action here for Noland on his second series and throws a strike. See where they spot it. Catch was made by Matthew Eaton. He'll be just shy of the line to gain. 6-yard gain.
Here on 3rd down and short, this is where you'd usually see Montgomery as Iowa State rallies to the line.
And it will be Montgomery trying to pick a hole. He found the right one. Shakes a tackler. And out of play near midfield. Great vision that time by David Montgomery.
Yeah, the play's designed to go inside and follow seam Buckner, the fullback, but he sees a lot of space on the perimeter because of the collapse by Oklahoma's defense, and he hits it. Big gain for the Clones.
Already been in Oklahoma territory once. Noland with single coverage going for Butler. Overthrows him again. And if you got guys 6'6", 6'7", you got to give him a shot. That was Motley again in coverage on the big receiver down the field.
You have to give him a chance. And I know it's a second start. Believe me, the juices are flowing. He's fired up. He's playing the Oklahoma Sooners and only his second start. There's nothing cooler than that. There's no better opportunity for Zeb Noland, but he's got to calm down. He's got to allow the game to come to him and give those big wide receivers a chance to jump up and catch it on a deep ball.
Nwangu is the running back here on 2nd down and 10. It's a bad snap. Nolan did a good job to pick it off the field. Nwangu with a beautiful cutback, and he is close to a first down. Sophomore from Frisco, Texas, Kene Nwangu. He missed last season with an Achilles injury, but 2 years ago he was a very dangerous kick returner.
Yeah, he's playing at a different speed than David Montgomery. That is a great 1-2 punch, because I'm not so sure that same cut could have been made by Montgomery and gotten that type of gain.
Good point, Luke's 3rd down and 2 now for Iowa State. They had 10 men on the field at one point, so Butler was late getting on, it looked like.
Yeah, timeout right there. That's just the inexperience of Zeb Noland. I mean, you didn't have enough guys on the field. You're trying to get motion. You have to call timeout. Good job by the coaching staff of Iowa State.
College football on ABC is presented by Walmart. Discover more ways to shop at Walmart today. And in part by Allstate and the Allstate AFCA Good Works team, recognizing athletes for their charitable work. Visit ESPN.com/Allstate to learn more.
The Iowa State faithful out here on a hot, humid day, hoping to see history. Iowa State has not beaten Oklahoma here since 1960. That's 23 straight losses in Ames to the Sooners. They beat them last year in Norman to snap an 18-game losing streak. How about this formation here on 3rd down and 2? They got 5 guys all stacked behind one another. Now they shift everybody, so they're just messing with the defense. And this is going to be Wildcat with Montgomery now at quarterback. Nolan split out wide to the top of your screen. Run a little option. Montgomery. And a flag down. Montgomery tackled short of the line to gain. So all that window dressing, and it doesn't work. I don't know if I've ever seen that before, pre-snap. Have you?
A lot of moving parts.
Holding, offense, number 47. 10-yard penalty, replay 3rd down.
Oklahoma accepting the penalty because Iowa State went for it on 4th down on their first possession, and it would be 4th and inches. So they take the 10-yard penalty on Sam Seenbuckner, the fullback.
Yeah, and you can see Seenbuckner right here on the right side of the screen. And if you find Seenbuckner, usually you find the ball. Here you can see as Montgomery works to the outside, he grabbed that jersey.
So now passing situation for Nolan on 3rd down and 12. Nolan, pass tipped, incomplete. Motley defending Butler. They seem to be targeting Motley, but it's 4th down.
Very fortunate here as Motley broke on that out route and timed it really well. You watch the progress on defense for Oklahoma. The most noticeable difference is in the secondary. The windows are tight. You have to be very accurate to complete balls against these corners. They've been outstanding through 2 games and change so far.
CeeDee Lamb had a 66-yard punt return a week ago. He's the deep man here. This punt is crushed. It goes way out of bounds. We'll see where they mark it. At the 10-yard line. 3-0 Sooners.
With the 9th selection of the 2018 MLB Draft, the Oakland Athletics select Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray decided, you know what, I want to play a little college football while I can. Got that $4.6 million signing bonus from the A's. You look at his numbers from Oklahoma. He can do it all. He's got speed, got a little power.
What's amazing is the A's are like known for their ability to draft big-time prospects. Clearly, I mean, Billy Beane and company, a lot of faith in the upside that Kyler Murray has on the diamond. I'm excited to see him. I really am. It's fun to have him in football for 1 season, though.
First down on the 10-yard line. And Murray's going to hand it off here. And stumbling is Sutton and taken down at the 8-yard line. I love what UCLA head coach Chip Kelly said last week about Kyler Murray. When he was asked what he thought of Murray, he said, you know what, I'm really mad at Billy Beane. If he'd have given him $5.5 million, he wouldn't be playing. He would have taken the money and not be playing college football. He lit him up last week. 3 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing scores.
Lane Kiffin echoed that sentiment too in the first game of the season. But for us as college football fans and enthusiasts, I know we're all excited to see number 1 for the Sooners out there at quarterback.
No doubt. 2-yard loss on first down. So Murray going to take off here. Gets outside. And he gets crunched at the 15-yard line by DeAndre Payne. So 3rd down, which hasn't been an issue here in the first quarter for Oklahoma yet.
You have to wonder with the loss of Rodney Anderson if there's going to be more quarterback designed runs like that throughout the course of the Big 12 slate. Here in the 3rd and 4, where it was all about the passing game last year and Baker Mayfield's arm, you have to account for both the run game and the passing game with Kyler Murray in there at quarterback.
On 3rd and 5, Murray in trouble, steps up, slings it complete for a first down to Brown. 3 catches already for Marquise Brown.
The exact same play that they hit Brown on for the big gain on the last series. This time, good job by Murray keeping the play alive. Going north and south in the pocket and finding Brown over the middle, who was uncovered, much like he was on the big gain last drive. That's clearly a play that they feel like they can feature here in the early going.
And watch his eyes up. I think that's the thing to note here. He easily could have taken off and ran.
Fresh set of downs on the OU 25-yard line. Murray off play action, going deep for Hollywood. Got it! Goodbye! Touchdown Sooners! "75 yards to one of the fastest guys on the field." Pretty good toss, too, huh?
Unbelievable. Just right in stride, way downfield. Great play action, great chemistry between Brown and Murray.
Seibert made 108 consecutive extra points. Make it 109.
He might run the ball a little more than Baker Mayfield. I'll tell you what, through the first 3 games, he's throwing it a lot like Baker, too, hitting Hollywood Brown in stride as Murray loves it.
You can stream college football all season long on ESPN Plus. So start your free trial today by downloading the ESPN app or visiting ESPNplus.com. (10-0) Oklahoma. And Seibert kicks it through the end zone. It will come out to the 25.
Iowa State came into this game knowing that they could not give up big plays. And what do? They allow play action. You see the play action affect the safety, and he hops up, which allows Brown, untouched, to go on a post right at the safety, right through the middle of the field. And what a perfect throw by Kyler Murray on the post route. See the effect of the safety? You see him disappear, and there's nothing but green grass in the middle of the field. And once Brown gets on top, it's all she wrote. A perfect throw in stride for the big play for the Sooners.
237 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns the last 2 games for Brown. Noland on first down completes it to Chase Allen. Nice bounce back. That's a 21-yard pass play. The head coach of Iowa State is Matt Campbell, who engineered one of the best turnarounds in the country last year. Went from 3 wins to 8, and he beat 2 top 5 teams. Can they get another one here in 2018? Straight ahead is Crony to midfield. So it's a gain of about 3.
Last year in this game, Oklahoma was down 14-0, but Matt Campbell and these Iowa State Cyclones, they didn't panic. Matt Campbell's very relaxed on the sideline, almost uncomfortably relaxed from time to time. Very poised, and the team plays like that. They really follow their head coach, and what a job he's done in a very short period of time here in Ames, changing the culture, getting the guys to believe that every single time out they can win if they play well enough within the fundamentals of the process.
He said no rah-rah speech needed for this week. These guys know what to do. They did it last year twice against TCU and Oklahoma. Nolan after several pump fakes, and that one just off the fingertips of Landon Akers. Lost his shoe. Maybe that distracted him as he tried to make that catch. A one-handed, one-shoed catch almost.
I mean, I liked it. I mean, it's a good effort on the layout. You see him try to get up and that foot slip back. Lose a little traction when you lose your spikes.
Pretty impressed with Nolan there, too, in terms of some poise in the pocket.
Yeah, he hung in there.
Brought his eyes down, yeah.
Pass was catchable, too, Tom.
Yep.
Oklahoma's been very good on third down. Iowa State not so much. Third time, though, they've either been to midfield or crossed it here in the first quarter. Nolan over the middle. And close to a first down is Crony. They're going to mark him right at the 45-yard line, which means he's short. And they're going to go for it. They went for it earlier and did not get it. This is 4th and 1. Now they back off. We'll see if Matt Campbell uses a timeout. He's going
Oklahoma.
to.
No, it's
Oklahoma called a timeout.
Oklahoma, their first of the half. It'll be 30 seconds in length.
And you look at Lincoln Riley. Let's spend a moment on him for a minute. We talked about Matt Campbell and what a terrific young coach he is. Now, Lincoln Riley, we had a conversation this week. I thought it was really interesting that, you know, NFL coaches are now calling Lincoln Riley to say, how are you doing what you're doing? Because we're seeing more college offense in the NFL, and you're seeing the fullback come back, and Oklahoma does that. They use a fullback, and obviously you have the RPO game.
Yeah, he's incredible. And I've known Lincoln for 13 years, and to see him blossom and to see his growth, because when I got to meet Lincoln for the first time, he picked me up at the airport because I was a recruit at Texas Tech, and he was a student assistant. So to see his growth and to see how innovative he's become with personnel and with finding space and with spreading the field horizontally, he's just such an innovator and has had success at every stop. No surprise that he has the Sooners rolling early in the 2018 campaign.
Iowa State going for it again. 4th down and 1 at the 45-yard line of the Sooners. Montgomery hit once, twice, falls forward though to get the first down. Great effort by the 215-pound captain, David Montgomery.
That was not there initially. This is all David Montgomery. Look how low he gets. Boom, stays with it, continues to fall. I told you, he always seems to be falling forward. No matter how much momentum the defender has coming in to tackle him, he seems to always shed it, not get hit hard, and fall forward for an additional yardage. Great play there.
Nolan will throw it here. Pulled in. Butler makes a man miss. Another Iowa State first down.
Butler needs to be big for Iowa State, not just today, but throughout this season. They lose Alan Lazard. He was their leader. He was their go-to guy in the passing game. Butler has that potential, just needs to deliver on some consistency.
Iowa State moving on Oklahoma's defense for a third time. Swing pass out in space. Great tackle on Deshaunte Jones. That's the true freshman. They call him Buki. His name is Brendan Radley Hiles, the preseason Big 12 newcomer of the year.
How do you have a preseason newcomer of the year? Isn't that the whole reason? You are the newcomer. So that just goes to show you how much acclaim he had coming into school. And talking to defensive coordinator Mike Stoops, he's very excited about the freshmen, not just Buki, but Ronnie Perkins and a few other freshmen that are really working into the mix, trying to change the defensive culture for Oklahoma.
That was a 3-yard setback, so it's 2nd down and 13. Nolan to the air. Has time, slings it complete to the 20-yard line to Jones. Down at the 18, 17 yards and a first down. They're in the red zone now.
They're starting to use a little tempo too. Have the crowd into it, have some momentum. Trying to take advantage of that now as they hustle to the line.
And Oklahoma late getting a sub on. Iowa State fans are upset right now because the Cyclones are ready to go up tempo. The officials had to wait for the substitution. Montgomery goes high up in the air. Pinballs forward to the 14-yard line. How big was that 4th down? Because if they don't get it, Oklahoma with a relatively short field, if they score another touchdown, the game might be over. Now the Cyclones on the move with a chance to make it a 3-point game. See if they run another play here or just let the clock wind down in the first quarter. That's it. 10-0 Oklahoma through 1 quarter in Ames. A 75-yard touchdown pass by Kyler Murray, who has looked phenomenal here in Ames. Back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. This season, for every field goal, an extra point made by participating universities, Allstate will make a contribution to university's general scholarship fund. Thank you, Allstate. With Greg McElroy and Tom Luganville, I'm Dave Pash on a hot, humid September Saturday. Temperature expected to reach close to 90. 10-0 Sooners. 2nd and 6 for Iowa State at the Oklahoma 14-yard line. Zeb Nolan making his 2nd career start at quarterback. Hands off for Montgomery, and he's going nowhere. Maybe a yard. Bledsoe was there first for Oklahoma.
Based on that last snap, it looks like Oklahoma here in the red zone, they want to challenge the passing game. They want to challenge Zeb Nolan, who's only making his 2nd career start. So they're going to play man-to-man. That's what they played on that last snap, and they loaded the box. This time, looks like they're dropping out a little bit more as 6 guys are in the box. Let's see if they add one.
Iowa State just 1 for 4 on 3rd down here in the first half. Play action. Nolan swings it out to Jones, and he has no shot that time. Too much speed on the perimeter. Justin Broyles, freshman from Oklahoma City, on the hit. It's 4th down.
What a great job by Oklahoma's defense. Iowa State has all the momentum at the end of the first quarter. March right down the field. Few big plays, couple conversions. And sure enough, the quarter changes, you switch ends. And it looks like a new Oklahoma defense that went out there. 2 consecutive lost yardage plays on 2nd and 3rd down to set up the field goal. Great job by the Sooners.
Connor Asali on for the field goal try, 34 yards away. And he's now 2 for 2 on the season. Iowa State on the board. 10-3, Oklahoma.
Cassidy Hubbard here, in time now for the All-State Mayhem moment. Rutgers, Kansas. Arthur Sikowski picked off by Bryce Tornadin, who now has a pick 6 and fumble recovery in this game. Kansas is up 17-7 in the first. Dave, Greg, Tom, back to you guys.
Hardcast break up the Jayhawks.
Let's go. Don't call it a streak. The win over Central Michigan last week, now leading Rutgers. Now, a streak is technically 3 wins, right? 2 wins counts if you're Kansas.
For Kansas,
yes.
2 is good.
2 is good.
Baby steps. Francis on the kickoff. And you know how badly Brown wants to run that out. He's mad at himself. Touchback.
Kyler Murray's been absolutely outstanding so far in this game. It's only 1 quarter, but he's playing against a good defense. He's done it in a lot of different ways. The designed runs. How about this as a pocket passer? Just getting through his progression. This is not an easy progression, too. You got to feel that mesh, and then if you see disappearance, you throw it over the middle. Same play. This time he has to actually extend it. Still finds Brown, same result for the conversion. But he's been outstanding so far. Hitting the deep ball to Brown for the touchdown. He's seeing the field. He's reacting well. He's using his legs when he needs to. He's been as advertised in the first 15 minutes.
And Greg, I think because of his stature, you make this assumption that he's a runner first and he's a sandlot player. He is a pocket thrower with accuracy and precision. Oh, who happens to, just by the way, be a dynamic athlete.
Yeah, and he's really progressed as a passer, too.
Yep.
He's gotten so much better in that area since he was in College Station just a couple years ago.
Lincoln Riley is furious with one of the officials right now. He's saying they should have reset the play clock. It started too soon, and that's why they had to burn a timeout. It's amazing to think that you lose Baker Mayfield, who wins the Heisman Trophy. They win at Ohio State. They go to the college football playoff. He's the #1 pick in the draft, and your offense might be more explosive now.
It's harder to defend.
It's just a challenge to keep him contained.
Yeah.
And they're so reliant on the big play that if you hit just a little slant, might be to the house. It's not not a lot of teams have that explosiveness at wide receiver between Lamb and Marquise Brown and the running back tandem that they're going to be using moving forward. They just have so many different ways to beat you and to put you in conflict defensively. You can see the statistics since Lincoln Riley got to Norman. They're off the charts, and it should come as no surprise given Lincoln Riley's track record everywhere he's been.
Murray to throw on first down. Wide open in the middle of the field. It's Calcaterra, and he lost the ball. It's picked up by Iowa State. Recovered by Richard Bowens at the 49-yard line. And it's going to be Iowa State ball. That's the ruling on the field. A catch and a fumble. Calcaterra coughs it up.
Wow. What a change
Throwing on
in
the field is a
momentum.
completed pass and a fumble recovered by the defense. First down.
I think, yeah, it's out.
Ball's
Injury
out right there.
timeout.
You can see it. Wow, a huge play offensively.
Greg Eisworth, again, a big hit.
Man, and you see Calcaterra trying to switch arms. He has the ball on his inside arm, trying to get to the outside, which is good, but don't do it as you're about to get hit. That ball's not secured, and as a result, it hits the turf for a key fumble.
Yeah, guys, we got an injury here. Bobby McMillan, left knee, he pointed at for Iowa State defensive linebacker on that play. He's up here, and Matt Campbell out to the field visiting with him, but He knew immediately when it went down and pointed to his left knee.
Thanks, Tom. Boy, that is big for Iowa State. They get down 10-0. The crowd was so jacked up before the game because they remember what it was like to celebrate after they beat a top 5 team here last year. We were here for that when they knocked off TCU. And the crowd gets quieted on that 75-yard touchdown pass by Kyler Murray. But then the Cyclones bounce back. They pick up a 4th down. They get a field goal, and now they get a takeaway. And there's the turnover belt. Everybody's got something. Now, my favorite was the throne. I don't remember who had
You're on the throne. That's Boise State.
Yeah, I like the throne. We'll see that today. They play Oklahoma State at 3:30 on ESPN.
Dave has a turnover pillow.
Yes.
I have a play-by-play throne up here that I make McElroy drag around from week to week.
I do.
After great calls, I get to sit on it.
I put it in my carry-on just for Dave. But what a turn. I mean, that really was. I mean, it was a big play, well executed. As a bust in the secondary because the safety triggered when he shouldn't have. Eisworth's there to make it right. And this is kind of what Iowa State does. They just hang around. They just hang in there. They absorb a few body blows, and then they start fighting back. And so far, they have a chance maybe to answer after the big sudden change.
Zeb Nolan filling in for the injured Kyle Kempt at quarterback. Nolan, a sophomore from just outside Athens, Georgia. Down the field, caught. Butler breaks a tackle. Inside the 15, keeps going. Highlight reel, touchdown. Sports Center top 10. Here we go. He's hard to stop. First of all, you got to keep him from catching it. Then you got to tackle the guy. It's 6'6", 225. Anasali ties the game at 10.
Just when you thought Oklahoma might get going offensively, Iowa State says, no, sir. They find Butler on the seam. He breaks a couple tackles and finds his way to the end zone. And Zeb Nolan, making only his 2nd career start, throws a dime. We got a tie ball game in Ames.
College football presented by Walmart on ABC is brought to you by Pacific Life. Experience the power of Pacific. And Burger King. Mix or match 2 of our favorite sandwiches for just $6.
Iowa State has come roaring back, trailing 10-0 to tie the game at 10 on a Hakeem Butler fantastic catch and run. Trey Brown is deep. This one goes over his head. Touchback.
You make a throw like this, you deserve to get rewarded. They're running a little vertical scheme, and they're going to vacate this part of the field. You want to try to find that with seam routes. The only problem is when you have a seam route, you have defenders that can drop underneath it. That right there is Curtis Bolton. He's dropping right underneath that throw. And you can see Butler at 6'6", catch it just as that window is closing and the corner is collapsing from the outside. That was a remarkable throw by Zeb Nolan. But how about the run after catch by Hakeem Butler?
51-yard touchdown pass. Trey Sermon on first down, bottled up. Iowa State's defense, as usual, coming to play. Saw a forced fumble on the last possession. Greg Eisworth making the hit. He's in there again on the tackle. Oklahoma has lost only one Big 12 game in the last 26, and it was at home against Iowa State. They haven't lost on the road in Big 12 play since 2014. Murray, long throw, Brown on the catch. Banged out a play short of the marker. It's going to bring up 3rd and 3. Their last loss on the road, a true road game, because they have the longest active win streak in terms of true road games in college football, at TCU. That streak started at Iowa State. They have not lost here in Ames since 1960.
The Big play right here. Don't be surprised if Oklahoma opts to keep it on the ground against what looks like a pretty advantageous run formation defensively for Iowa State.
3rd down and 2. Murray with the pitch. Sermon, nice cut, and he's got the first down. He wasn't going to have it. Had to make one guy miss in the backfield. And Sermon did. Again, replacing Rodney Anderson, who's out for the year with an injury. Sermon had an excellent game against Iowa State last year at 90 rushing yards, a receiving touchdown in the loss.
He's a good back. Just hasn't really been quite as explosive. Now, he hurt his knee in the spring game. Worked hard to get back. He's at 100%. Lincoln Riley assured us. Still, I'm not sure he's trusting that knee just yet. Hasn't seemed quite as quick and agile as he was a year ago. Maybe he's finding himself today.
Murray off play action on 1st down. Long throw caught by Hollywood Brown. Another 1st down for him. Gain of 16 to midfield and a 1st down for Murray and company.
So Greg, Dave, I think these are the types of plays that John Haycock, the defensive coordinator, he's okay with. Keep the ball in front of you and make Oklahoma earn every single snap. You give up those ones over the top, Iowa State's got no chance. But if you keep it in front of you and tackle in space, that's how you stay in the game on defense if you're the Cyclones.
And if there's one thing Iowa State has done very well over the last 2 years, Tom, is tackle.
Yep.
They don't give up big plays. A very sound group defensively.
Might be bringing some pressure here. You see Willie Harvey hovering around the line of scrimmage. So Murray looks like he's checking out. Murray hands to Sermon. And Sermon breaks a couple of tackles. Down to the 35-yard line. 15 more yards. Good response by the Sooner offense after Iowa State tied the game.
This offensive line is so good for Oklahoma. Been the strength of their team the last 2 years. But Sermon here, some nice job at the second level. A little wiggle to the left, a little wiggle to the right, and falling forward for a new set of downs.
Murray pulls it back, in trouble, flag down, and so is Murray. 2 penalty markers on the play. Murray tripped up by true freshman Mike Rose, who's their starting middle linebacker, replacing the heart and soul of their defense from a year ago, Joel Lanning. First true freshman to start an opener for Iowa State on defense since 2006. He's like, man, I'm tired trying to chase down Kyler Murray and get him to the
2
ground.
fouls on the play, 1 on each team. Holding on the offense, number 74. Holding on the defense, number 33. Those penalties offset. Will replay 1st down.
And that second penalty marker, Greg, came late. So I wonder if that happened when Murray started to scramble. But the first call, the clear hold by Oklahoma, was very early on.
Yeah, that's a huge penalty that wipes out a negative play and a sack that is rare when it comes to Kyler Murray in this offensive line.
The 1st and 10 again. Murray keeps. He gets drilled at the 32-yard line. Again, it's Greg Eisworth. He's got a tackle for a loss, a forced fumble, and 6 first-half tackles.
I'm telling you, Greg Eisworth has been one of the better safeties that I've seen in the last 2 weeks. I mean, he triggers very quickly. He's going to play right in the middle of the field. You know where he's going to be almost every snap, and he's going to be unblocked. But his reaction time and how quickly he meets defenders or meets ball carriers in the backfield is remarkable for a guy that's playing 12, 13 yards deep on any given snap.
Well, you hit it there. How sound they are, how fundamental they are defensively. They hit hard, too. Play action pass. Murray, everybody covered, so Murray's got some green in front of him, takes off. And slides down at the 22-yard line. Safe at second base.
Tell you what, he's got a slide form down. There's no doubt about that. I'm not sure that factored into the decision of Billy Beane to draft him 9th overall. How about this? Little whoop.
I think he beat the throw from the plate.
No question. That's a no throw. I'm just looking at. I'll just throw it back to the pitcher.
Right,
you can have
exactly.
the bag. That's fine.
Yep. Inside the 25-yard line. 9 minutes on the clock here until halftime. Sermon, a flea flicker. Murray throws it underneath, and everybody covered downfield, but A.D. Miller breaks a tackle, gets the first down, and they finally get him at the 6-yard line.
That kind of speaks to how sound this defense is. They're not going to fall for the flea flicker, but it also speaks to how much Kyler Murray has advanced in his progressions. No, I'm not going to throw it into traffic downfield. I know where my outlet is. I'll get it out to A.D. Miller, who's had a heck of a start to the season. He can make a couple guys miss, and next thing you know, we're on the 6-yard line. It's very advanced, very mature of Kyler Murray, not to try to force one in there, but understanding where to get out of trouble is.
9th play of the drive, 1st and goal at the 6-yard line for Oklahoma. And Murray looks like a design quarterback run, dragged down at the 5. 1-yard pickup. DeAndre Payne, a Tennessee transfer on the tackle, so it is 2nd and goal.
I think when Kyler Murray watches that play on tape, he's going to realize he could have cut that thing up, planted his foot in the ground, and got north and south. Because he had himself a crease on the inside. I just don't think his vision saw it. But, man, what a red zone weapon to have to contend with on the ground, Greg.
No doubt. So quick and elusive and small. It's tough to bring down, man.
Iowa State stacking the box. Murray rolling out on 2nd and goal. Open in the end zone. It's C.D. Lamb with a touchdown catch. Lamb was hurt earlier. He was on the sideline for a while, but back out there for that series, and the go-ahead score.
Just a little sprint right option. Perfectly executed. Look at the route by Lamb. My goodness. You see him work up about 2 or 3 yards into the end zone and then come flat and almost towards that front right pylon, running away from the defender. So much separation on what is a pretty standard route concept.
Seibert is true on the point after. And Kyler Murray showing patience and acumen. 2 touchdown passes in the first half. This season, Taco Bell is celebrating student sections and passionate fans like these by awarding the best student section of the year. The Iowa State student section already on the national watch list. Go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell to see how your school can compete. A little quieter than they were about 3 minutes ago, but still fired up, hoping for an upset today. Oklahoma's offense looks unstoppable right now. Kyler Murray already 2 touchdown passes in the first half. And Seibert kicking it deep for Oklahoma. And it'll be a touchback. By the way, Tom Luginbill was at Taco Bell earlier today running an errand for the students.
Hey, a little pregame, huh? No chicken and pasta for this guy. 2 grande scramblers and a bacon breakfast quesadilla. See y'all postgame.
Hey, guys, what do you think right here? Huh, burrito?
Let's see it. Let's see it. Oh, my goodness. That was...
Look at my burrito holster.
That was 6 or 7 rows up. Come on. Put a little heat on it, Tom.
You like that? Look at my burrito holster.
Here's David Montgomery getting the carry. It's so rare to see Tom at a Taco Bell with daylight.
It's so rare to see Tom only go once a day. That's what's really remarkable.
He told the gang he'd see him post-game.
There you go. I thought Tom would get a little higher in the stands. That was 6, 7 rows.
Yeah, that's weak.
Yeah, a little weak. Is there a headwind? Got to be a headwind.
I didn't eat my Wheaties today.
I promise you there's no wind.
But I ate Taco Bell.
Hot, humid, and no wind blowing down on the field. 2nd and 6 for Iowa State midway through the second quarter, trailing by 7. Here's Montgomery off the right edge. And he gets tackled at the 32. That's 3 more yards. So 3rd down. Can the Cyclones, who have not been great on 3rd down so far in the game, keep the chains moving and keep that Oklahoma offense on the sideline?
Yeah, very important here, this play, because that defense just withstood a massive drive. They're breathing heavy on the sideline is that Iowa State defense. So they have to get a conversion here. And if I'm going to try to convert, I got to find one of my best players. The best player today has been Hakeem Butler, number 18, at the bottom of your screen.
1 of 5 on 3rd down today. And they're going to run it with Montgomery, and they get the first down and more. Boy, David Montgomery, just a solid back. He led the country in missed tackles forced a year ago. I'm not sure how they calculate that stat, as there's an injured Oklahoma player. Looks like Curtis Bolton, who's one of their best linebackers. So we'll take a timeout. Oklahoma in front by 7. Curtis Bolton, who missed half of last year with an injury, walked under his own power to the Oklahoma sideline. The first-year starter finally getting an opportunity. He hopes to be back shortly. Tonight on ESPN, it's #1 Alabama in Oxford at Ole Miss. It's a 7 Eastern kick, 6 Central on ESPN. Remember, the Tide hammered the Rebels a year ago in Tuscaloosa, 66-3. First down for Iowa State on its 40-yard line. Nolan got single coverage, and it's incomplete. Unable to pull it in. Motley in coverage on the receiver, Jalen Martin.
They like the advantage that they have on these back shoulders. And I know they have big bodies. Man, that's a tough throw to make.
He's not throwing it to the back shoulder, Greg. That's the problem.
He's leading them up the field. I think a little air allowed that size and that length to go up and jump and grab it instead of driving it in there.
Gonna run it on 2nd and 10. Montgomery caught by Kenneth Murray at the 41, so it's a gain of 1. Guys, we mentioned that Alabama Ole Miss blowout last year. Do you see Ole Miss, because of how good its offense has looked so far, hanging around a little bit, or no? Is Alabama too good offensively?
Alabama's a different animal now. I just don't know if Ole Miss's defense will be able to get a stop. I believe enough in Alabama's defense that they're going to get a few stops throughout the game. Even if Ole Miss scores 28, I don't know how Ole Miss's defense keeps Alabama under 50. I really believe that.
They couldn't last year, and Alabama's offense is better this year.
Significantly better and more versatile, with Tua Tagovailoa calling the shots at quarterback.
And that'll be a timeout here by Iowa State. Cyclones facing a 3rd and long.
Iowa State. Their second of the half. It'll be 30 seconds in length.
So they've already had to burn 2 timeouts. 1 remaining for Iowa State. I know we're just 2 weeks in. Talk about Alabama and how good they are. We spoke earlier about Ohio State. And then you have Clemson, of course. I mean, that coming into the year, a lot of people thought, that those were maybe the 3 best teams anyway, although Ohio State had a new quarterback. But is there another team out there that has really shined in the last couple weeks that you're saying, you know what, maybe coming into the year I didn't think they were a playoff contender, but maybe they will be?
Yeah, Oklahoma,
Okay.
honestly, because I came in, I thought Baker Mayfield meant so much to this team and this program and really the community. I mean, he was such an incredible leader. He just provided so much charisma, and the guys gravitated to him. So I was concerned a little bit about their defense, whether or not that group would be better. And in the Big 12, in which I felt like Oklahoma might have taken a slight step back coming into the year, West Virginia's taken a big step forward, and some other programs are quite good as well. But Oklahoma, man, through the first 2 weeks has been as impressive as anybody.
I think a lot of people thought there'd be a drop-off with Georgia this year, but not much. Oklahoma gets after Zeb Nolan. 3 men in the backfield. Kenneth Murray there first for the sack. And Iowa State will have to punt the football. Loss of 10.
And it's that ability. I mean, they can rush the passer. They can blitz because they trust their defenders in the back end more. They're able to heat you up front because their corners have been outstanding. Their safeties have played quite good. They have Ryan Jones, who's a nice hybrid linebacker. I mean, the personnel defensively for Oklahoma is significantly better this year than where they were a year ago.
Corey Dunn on to punt it, and there's a penalty flag down. This will be delay of game.
Delay a game on the offense. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Corey Dunn, a guy that sometimes they'll have him kick it rugby style and sometimes they won't. Last week he had 2 non-rugby punts that went for 57 yards or more. All of his rugby punts weren't good. In fact, one of them went just 13 yards. See what they call here. CeeDee Lamb is deep for Oklahoma and is able to secure it on the fair catch at the 26-yard line. That was a 48-yard punt that time on the normal style boot. Take a look at our college football rankings brought to you by Allstate. We mentioned Bama. Clemson already in front. Georgia up big on Middle Tennessee. Just scored again 35-7. Auburn LSU, big game at 3:30. about Stanford? Talk about a team that, because Washington was considered the favorite of the Pac-12 and still might be, not a lot of people pick Stanford as a playoff contender, but they look good early on.
Yeah, that might be, of all the teams in the top 10, we might be talking about Stanford less than any of the other 10, because they've been solid the first half against San Diego State notwithstanding, but the last 6 quarters they've been outstanding. They really have.
Kyler Murray hands it off to Sutton on first down, takes a defender for a ride out to the 30-yard line, so 4 yards on first down. 1 timeout remaining for Oklahoma, nearing 4 minutes to go. Sooners trying to add to a 7-point lead.
Tom, I know in prepping for Oklahoma this week, just watching them, you knew their offense would be solid. You worried a little bit about replacing Baker Mayfield. Right. Would Kyler Murray be able to shoulder that load? He's passed that test with flying colors, but there's also so many other playmakers that he can rely on, and a sound offensive line, too.
A sound offensive line. They can spread the field vertically, horizontally, and then you got to contend with Kyler Murray's legs, which changes how you defend the box in this conference.
And this is going to be a run because he widened it out. There it is.
Yep. In his first collegiate road start, Kyler Murray taken off out to the 41. 11 yards on the ground for Murray. And 2 rushing touchdowns a week ago in their win against UCLA.
Now, Greg, would you agree, though, that given his stature, it is a long season in front of us? I think Lincoln Riley has got to be very, very careful when he picks and chooses his spots to utilize him as a designated runner. He can't control the improvised plays.
Sure.
But these types of plays, I think you got to pick your spots.
Yeah, and really because you widen it out and you spread the field horizontal like you alluded to, you knew a quarterback draw was coming. You can do that 6-7 times a game. You just don't want to see it 15 times a game.
Right.
Murray checking it down to the back. Sutton. Flag down. Another flag comes soaring in late. Gain of 5, but again, we got some laundry on the field.
Holding, offense number 84. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay first down.
So 2 officials saw the same thing. It was Lee Morris, former walk-on who got a scholarship just 2 weeks ago after they beat FAU. His dad was a walk-on who earned a scholarship late at Oklahoma. Morris called for the penalty.
Him and Calcaterra are matchup nightmares because they're listed as tight ends or wide receivers, but really wideouts. I mean, they're not your traditional tight end, nor was Mark Andrews. But what do you cover him with? Safety, linebacker? Morris and Calcaterra, they put some stress on the defense as well.
Morris, a high school teammate of Kyler Murray. Murray to throw as all day. Now takes off with everybody covered. And he's up to the 37-yard line. So he picked up only 3. Iowa State will take that.
Yeah, but he doesn't lose 7.
Yeah. 90% of the quarterbacks in college football, it's a sack.
Yeah.
The pocket collapses like that around you, and you're going to just get dragged down at some point. But he's so quick and accelerates so fast and can just sneak through holes within the protection that you kind of lose him sometimes as a pass rusher. And next thing you know, he squirts out for a 5, 6, 7-yard gain. That was well contained, but still a positive play in the eyes of Oklahoma.
Marcelius Sutton is the running back. Play fake. Murray. Long throw. Lamb is open. Makes the first down catch. So they have 2nd down and 14. And they get 19 on that long toss by Murray.
This is a 50-yard throw in the air. Now, I don't have the Pythagorean theorem that I can do it right on the top of my head.
Come on, you're a road scholar.
Finalist. But it was, that is a long throw on a deep comeback route off play action from the opposite hash. I mean, that's a 50-yard throw, and he threw it with velocity. That's big time, man.
First down at the 44-yard line of Iowa State. Oklahoma in no hurry. 1:20 on the clock in the half. They're going to run it. Sutton cuts it back. They're getting way too much on the ground with the running backs. 5-yard carry. I know people have made the Russell Wilson comparison for Kyler Murray on a couple of fronts. The arm strength, but also the fact that both play baseball. Do you see that?
I don't. No, I don't. He's so quick. He just doesn't really have a comp. There's not really been a quarterback like him that I can recall. I mean, he's so sudden. Russell Wilson's a great thrower. Kyler Murray's probably a little better athlete.
Murray running here, stumbles, but is able to get the line to gain for the first down at the 33-yard line. Clock will stop as they reset the chains.
Greg, it's the initial quickness. It's there's athletes that are quick, and Lamar Jackson was long and he could cover ground, but this guy goes from 0 to 3 steps at 100 miles an hour, and so you think you've got him, and the next thing you know, he pulls a rabbit out of a hat. It's like chasing the chicken in the alleyway if you're Rocky.
Guys, why are they taking so long before snapping the ball? They only have one timeout. Murray, open receiver is Brown. He got a foot down. So it'll be first and goal, and they'll be able to run 2 or 3 plays with 15 seconds left. Ball on the 7-yard line, a gain of 26.
Yeah, they were taking their time, but it's because they have big playability. They just had one snap where they can pick up a huge chunk, and now they're going to have 3, potentially 4 snaps to maybe get into the end zone, and if they don't get it on the first 3, they'll kick a field goal. I mean, it's...
And for Iowa State's defense, you gotta hold them to 3.
You have to. You have to try to hold them to 3, because last year in this game, Iowa State actually seized momentum right before the half by going down and getting the score themselves. You don't want Oklahoma to do it here.
Murray to the end zone, passes high, incomplete. Willie Harvey drilled Kyler Murray as he threw that ball trying to hit Calcaterra. 10 seconds to go.
And with a timeout, too, you could, in theory, run the football if you wanted to. Now, you have to also understand that your third down play has to be into the end zone or incomplete, but if you wanted to run the football and you wanted to spread the field horizontally and you felt like you had favorable numbers in the run game, you could do that and use your last time out before you take a shot to the end zone on third down potentially.
Murray swings it out in space to Tease. He walks into the end zone for the touchdown. 3 first-half touchdown passes for Kyler Murray. That one to Miles Tease, a senior who had not caught a pass this year. Prior to that, he did have a couple touchdowns last year. That was big with 5 seconds left. And you also clearly see, as you mentioned, Greg, why they weren't in a hurry at all on that drive.
Just masterful clock management. And Lincoln Riley shows that he's as good a play caller as you'll ever find. Because they get in a run look. That is a run formation for Oklahoma. And they have the bubble on the left-hand side. Look at the numbers and the leverage. I mean, the defenders are looking in the backfield because they know that formation equals run. Kyler Murray recognizes that he has leverage and nothing but wide space to the bubble route on the left-hand side. And Tease walks in. I mean, that is stealing right there, and Lincoln Riley loves it. It's a great decision by his quarterback, but just shows you why this scheme is so challenging to defend. Have everything figured out for the run play, and then he throws it to the bubble where there's an answer, and he walks into the end zone for the touchdown. Great clock management and execution by the quarterback in the Sooner offense.
And as you said, one of the best play callers in college football, Lincoln Riley, and he's just getting started. He's only 35. He's the second youngest coach in FBS behind Sean Lewis at Kent State. Lincoln Riley was under Ruffin McNeil at East Carolina. You obviously talked about at Texas Tech when he was just getting his feet wet in coaching, but Ruffin is on this staff, and usually you don't want to be the guy that replaces a legend like Bob Stoops, but Lincoln Riley has been phenomenal as the head coach. Touchback, it'll come out to the 25. State Farm halftime report is coming up with Kevin Nagandi, Mac Brown, and Jonathan Vilma. Highlights and scores from around the country, and they'll preview our ABC primetime game, Ohio State and TCU.
It's going to be a heck of a game tonight, man. I mean, just Gary Patterson in that type of setting. That setting, as an underdog, Gary Patterson always seems to have such a great plan, and be real curious to see if he can do that against a superior team and talent.
Going to give it to Nwangu here. He lost the ball, but they rule him down.
Ruling on the field is that the runner was down by rule.
And Curtis Bolton, who was injured earlier, he was back on the field making the tackle, and that's the end of the first half. Iowa State down 10-0, tied the game at 10, but 14 unanswered points by Oklahoma. And Murray with 3 touchdown passes in the first half. Kevin, Mack, and Jonathan will catch you up with everything on the State Farm Halftime Report after this message and a word from our ABC station.
Kyler Murray, first real road to need more of this. The offense, Hakeem Butler going 51 yards to the house. Second half coming your way after this.
The State Farm Halftime Report is brought to you by State Farm, here to help life go right.
Run it, run it, run it to another level. Run it, run it, run it.
Welcome back to ABC Saturday Afternoon College Football, presented by Walmart. The Oklahoma Sooners on pace for 700 yards of total offense. Kyler Murray with 3 passing touchdowns. He's also on pace to rush for 100 yards. Dave Pasch, Greg McElroy, and Tom Luginbill. And it looks like a year after the Oklahoma quarterback wins the Heisman Trophy, the Sooners have another quarterback who's a Heisman candidate. Murray, phenomenal first half, man.
He's been the best player on the field. It's been unbelievable. He has 3 first-half touchdowns. But this deep throw to Marquise Brown, in stride, 75-yard touchdown on the big post was outstanding. And then he sprinted right, little Q8 option, hit CeeDee Lamb. And then finally, to cap off what was a terrific first half, he finds Tease on the little bubble route. He's been so dynamic, not just with his legs, which is what he's always had in his arsenal, but now as a thrower, you see the progress that he's made over the course of the first 3 games, and they're clicking on all cylinders against what is a very stingy and solid Iowa State defense.
Keep in mind, Oklahoma was up 11 at halftime over Iowa State last year and lost the game. And on the pooch kick, fair caught at the 31-yard line. Take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Kyler Murray with 3 more passing touchdowns, giving him 8 on the season. He's only thrown 1 interception. And David Montgomery had a couple of good runs, but for the most part, he's been bottled up. Oklahoma's defense got after the quarterback as well as Nolan, who's starting for the injured Kyle Kemp. It wasn't a terrible first half, really, on either side of the ball for Iowa State. Just Oklahoma's that good.
It was very impressive. Really, I mean, Iowa State didn't even play bad, and yet just further proves just how good Oklahoma is.
Sermon on first down, up the middle. Picks up 3. Let's check in with Tom.
Well, Iowa State head coach Matt Campbell said, hey, we can look at the obvious. Missed tackles, big explosive plays. He goes, but the bottom line is, this is deja vu. We've been here before. He pointed to the scoreboard. We did this exact same thing last year. Said, I know one thing about my team. They'll keep playing.
No doubt. The way this team is coached and the type of kids they have. Murray with all day to throw. Receivers all day to run around. Brown on the catch. It's a first down to the 42-yard line. Kyler Murray, the number 9 pick in the Major League Baseball draft by the Oakland A's, signed a contract that gives him a bonus of close to $5 million, which is almost as much as his head coach makes and is actually more than Matt Campbell, the Iowa State head coach, makes at a measly 3.8 as they run here on a jet sweep pitch. Brown, and he's tackled for a loss. Iowa State needed a play like that. Put him in second and long.
Yeah, and I'm going to petition the Oakland Athletics that if we can pool some funds together to give back some of that signing bonus, that we can have Kyler Murray in college football a little longer. Because 1 year might just not be enough.
Let's do another year.
Yeah, come on, give us another one, Billy. I know you're watching. Please, 1 more year. But, man, he's been outstanding. He really has. And what's lost in this is just how good Iowa State's defense is. This is a really solid group, a sound group that make you earn it. Kyler Murray's earned it in the first half.
Murray on 2nd and 16. And he's grabbed and brought down at the 35. Another negative play. Guys, what happened at A&M with Kyler Murray? Because he started a few games there, but he had more interceptions than touchdown. Has he grown that much as a passer and a decision maker? Is that the difference?
Yes, and he's matured too. I mean, if you look at the way he played at A&M, he was a better athlete than quarterback at that point. This was a runaround guy, could do some things with his legs, wasn't ready to be a starter yet. Now he goes to Oklahoma. He learns from Baker Mayfield. He learns how to manipulate defenders with his eyes and throw the ball accurately over defenders. He's a completely different player now.
Murray on 3rd down and 17. looking to run, instead throws, and it's incomplete. I think he was throwing to CeeDee Lamb. Brown was underneath. Lamb reacted as if, man, I was going to catch that, so you wonder if that's where Murray was going.
Yeah, I don't know who he was throwing it to because both guys were in pretty close connection on the scramble drill. And that happens sometimes when you're scrambling and the quarterback's improvising and you're trying to get out in front of them. Sometimes the layers on the routes become a little too tight. That time, Kyler Murray just a little high on the throw if he was intending it for Brown and a little low if he was intending for Lamb.
And Iowa State really was in a must-stop situation there. 3rd and 17. Considering they didn't stop Oklahoma very often in the first half. Big hit on Milton, who secured the football. Was drilled back at the 20-yard line by Norwood.
Big hit.
But Milton able to hang on to it, didn't signal for the fair catch. His coach, his family, and friends saying next time, wave the hand high in the air. We're back on ABC Saturday afternoon college football presented by Walmart. 24-10 Oklahoma. Zeb Nolan getting the start at quarterback for Iowa State. Second career start. He started a game and won it last year at Baylor when starter Kyle Kemp was injured the week before. And Nolan will hand it off to Montgomery on 1st and 10. Moves his way forward for about 2 or 3 yards. Kemp had a heroic performance in his first career start in Norman last year, leading Iowa State to its first win in 19 tries against Oklahoma, but he was injured against Iowa last week. Nolan to throw here. He was pretty good in the first half, and that pass on the money. Forward progress to the 27, and then late hit by Motley on Matthew Eaton. They've been going at Motley all day.
They're definitely going to get the
15 yards from the end of the run, automatic first down.
Yeah, good call by the official. That was clearly dead. Forward progress had stopped 6-7 yards ago, and Motley, trying to impose his will, goes with a little bit of a suplex, if you will, over the top. No room for that. Good call by the officials.
So that puts the ball out to the 43-yard line for Iowa State. Nolan, who played for his dad in high school just outside Athens, Georgia. Play action. Nolan taking a shot for Butler on the back shoulder. And Butler breaks another tackle. They can't get this guy down, and they can't catch him. Touchdown, Iowa State. If you didn't know the name Hakeem Butler prior to today, I think we're going to be talking about this guy all year. 57-yard touchdown. He had a 51-yarder in the first half, 144 yards in all today receiving. And an enormous play following that unsportsmanlike conduct call by Oklahoma, and we've got a 7-point game.
What a start to the second half by the Cyclones. The starting quarterback in his second career start, Zeb Nolan, throws a little back shoulder to the 6'6" Hakeem Butler to make it just a 7-point lead for the Sooners. Don't go anywhere, folks. There's life here in Ames.
College football presented by Walmart on ABC is brought to you by Nissan, innovation that excites, and Courtyard by Marriott, the official hotel of the NFL.
Well, if you're a college basketball fan, you see that surfboard, you know it's one thing. You're going to the Maui Invitational. It's a great field. November 19th to the 21st. Duke is there, Arizona, Gonzaga. Pretty good group.
I think we're going to need to go out there and just scout those teams. You know, Maui in November, that's about right.
And another short kickoff. They're forcing the Upmen to catch the football. And that's what Terry did, so it's going to be decent starting field position for Oklahoma.
Last week, to be honest, Hakeem Butler struggled. Didn't play well. And they need him to be a star in the passing game. At 6'6", 225 pounds, he should be able to impose his will. He did so here, working against Parnell Motley in the one-on-one. And a great throw by Zeb Noland. We've seen him throw that back shoulder a few different times up the field. Not overly accurate. But man, right there, that was right on the money to start the second half. And Zeb Noland clearly has found a target that he can rely on. And Hakeem Butler's been outstanding after the catch, too, just breaking tackle after tackle en route to 2 touchdowns.
And Greg, we were told we might see 1, maybe 2 more quarterbacks for Iowa State. The way Noland is going, they may not want to take him off the field.
No, you leave him in. Unless you want to go with Real Mitchell in a bit of a wildcat setup, Zeb Noland's your guy.
Another huge running lane for Sutton. And Iowa State giving up way too much on the ground on first down. Just the threat of Kyler Murray, you're so worried about him. And then you've got Sutton and Sermon, who are no slouches at tailback.
And an offensive line that's so comfortable in the scheme. I mean, on the left side, between Bobby Evans and Ben Powers at left tackle and left guard, respectively, that's as good a left side as you'll find in the entire country.
Here's Sutton again, finding another hole, and he's got the first down to the 45-yard line.
And keep in mind, when you watch Kyler Murray, and we talked about this when we came on air, he holds that ball out there for so long that it gets you thinking on defense. You don't want to take a false step, because if he pulls it at the last second, so it's almost as if you're on your heels all the time within the box if you're Iowa State.
Yeah, and they run a play called the counter read too, Tom, where they have 2 pullers. The guard and the tackle both pull, and on that play they did it again. That's their #1 run play. You don't see that often in a spread zone.
Murray pulls it back this time, looking downfield, and now takes off. He gets out of there quick, heads for the sideline. You guys talked about that offensive line. They lost 2 key guys from last year's squad. Their center, Eric Wren, and their left tackle, Orlando Brown, who was a 3rd-round pick of Baltimore. But they returned guys who had playing experience. Powers is a senior. Jonathan Alvarez is a senior. Creed Humphrey, who's in there now at center. He's a redshirt freshman and going to be a really good player for a while.
Yeah, and you can make a case that this group might be better than last year. Really believe that. With Bobby Evans' development and Powers being an elite left guard, the center's the only position, and Creed Humphrey and Alvarez both rotating. It's the only position that really needs to get up to speed.
Sutton out of the backfield, goes high over an Iowa State defender. He leaped over Jamal Johnson. He got smoked, though, by Mike Rose afterwards. 12-yard pickup.
How about the vertical here? Boom. Go, big fella. Now, Rose was awaiting on the other end, but that's another 5 yards that you gain as you go vertical.
Jumped over Peavy.
And tell you to never leave your feet.
Still, I'd take it for another 6 yards all day long.
That looked like McElroy against Luganville in the bubbles yesterday out here. We'll show you that a little bit later. We actually have live footage of that, so just teasing that for later, folks. Murray hands it off again. Sutton breaking a tackle, and this time Iowa State gets him down. A penalty flag down. Will we have a targeting violation because Sutton's helmet comes off? Maybe a face mask. It's a big hit by DeMonte Ruth.
Personal foul, face mask, defense #6, 15 yards from the end of the run, automatic first down. Number 21 can stay in the ball game due to the foul.
Yeah, you see that right arm of Ruth go and grab underneath and pull that face mask up. Man, that hurts too. Sutton, I mean, that chin strap's going right up against the bridge of your nose. Man, that's painful. It's a good call by the official. I'm glad to see Sutton's got no issues as he heads to the sideline, get a little swig of water.
Good call, but really hard to miss when a guy's helmet gets taken off.
Pretty obvious, isn't it?
Kyler Murray on the move again. They're at the 22-yard line. And Murray hands for Sermon. Around the edge, breaks a tackle. Sermon keeps his balance. He's in. Touchdown, OU. More missed tackles by Iowa State.
Man, the missed tackle here by arguably the best player on the defense, number 12, Eisworth. Look at him, wrap up. You see him throw that right shoulder into him, try to give him a body blow, and all you do is you give him forward momentum. Bad tackling by Iowa State, but a good job by Sermon continuing that forward momentum and barreling into the end zone.
Oklahoma's only the second team in basically a calendar year to score more than 20 points on this Iowa State defense. And we're talking about the Big 12 where everybody scores more than 20. But Oklahoma's rolling today. The Sooners with 31 points early in the third quarter to go back up 2 scores here at Ames.
Young forever.
Week 2's Monday Night Football matchup has Russell Wilson and the Seahawks taking on Khalil Mack and the Bears. Coverage with Monday Night Countdown 6 Eastern 3 Pacific on ESPN, as well as the ESPN app. You can also catch the game in Spanish on ESPN2. Mack was pretty good at his Bears debut, but Aaron Rodgers was better. Who knows if Rodgers will go this week against the Vikings? He's injured. Touchback, it'll come out to the 25s. Take a look at our unexpected outcome brought to you by ExxonMobil. It was last year in Norman. Iowa State down 11 points to Oklahoma at halftime, but Kyle Kempt, who's out today with an injury, in making his first career start through 3 second-half touchdown passes, the last to Allen Lazard for the winning score. That was the first win over Oklahoma since 1990, and they ended up beating 3 ranked teams. They ended up being ranked themselves for the first time since 2005. Matt Campbell has this program headed in the right direction. Zeb Nolan hits Montgomery, his first catch of the day. They normally throw it to him, but he has not been targeted very often. He picks up about 7 yards there. Hit hard by Murray and Broyles on the sideline.
Yeah, Montgomery's a guy that was targeted 45 times last year in the passing game. Had a few catches last week, too. With Kyle Kempt in the game as the starter, he'll probably get more receptions, but Zeb Nolan hasn't really looked in his direction today.
2nd and 3. Nice cutback by Montgomery. Out to the 39-yard line. So I guess when you feel like things are maybe slipping away, go to your best player on consecutive plays.
Yeah, and you're giving your defense a little bit of a rest, too, by trying to milk the clock a bit. See if you can test and challenge this Oklahoma defensive line.
Only 6 in the box for Oklahoma. But this will be a pass by Nolan. Deshaunte Jones wide open as, again, they go at Motley, who's trying to rip the ball away. Pickup of 9.
I tell you, look at these corners, guys. They're really backing off now. We're not seeing as much at the line of scrimmage. Give them a lot more underneath stuff. Matt Campbell offensively doing a nice job of taking advantage of what the defense gives them now.
Montgomery on 2nd and 1. Gets the corner. Now brings it back inside. Puts his hand down to keep his balance. To the 37-yard line. Great run by Montgomery.
Great run as he just continues to fall forward. Montgomery hasn't had a ton of opportunities today, just his 14th carry right there, but making the most of it here in the second half.
And they're on the move again inside the 40-yard line. Off play action, Nolan going downfield. And it's Butler again who makes the grab inside the 10. They mark him out of bounds at the 7-yard line.
See if he gets a foot down, secures the catch. See that right foot. It's very close. Man, they're going to take a look at this.
Yeah.
The ruling on the previous play of a completed pass for a first down is under further review.
I got a question here for you quarterbacks. So on that play right there, Butler clearly had his guy beat. Are you watching him, or is that a back shoulder throw no matter what? Because Butler had the defender beaten. If he'd have thrown it over the top, it's a touchdown.
Yeah, more than likely. Usually you should always try to throw it to where the defender is not. Defender's on top, you throw the back shoulder, but taking a look a little bit closer.
That's a catch.
At it, of course, it's called a catch on the field, so it has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn. See that right foot? It's hard to tell from that angle.
I think, Dave, too, to answer your question, there used to be an old adage, if he's even, he's leaving. It means you're going to throw that ball over the top because your guy's going to track it. I think now with the size you have on the perimeter, Greg,
right,
if he's even, your back shoulder to the sideline. And finally, we've gotten into the third quarter here. Finally, Zeb Nolan
After
has figured it out.
review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Completed pass, first down.
Our replay official's name, David Ames, but he's impartial. He is impartial, just having some fun. 1st and goal.
But back to you guys' conversation about back shoulder versus over the top. Oklahoma has a speed advantage.
Yep.
Iowa State has a size advantage. Back shoulders are easier to complete to a bigger-bodied wide receiver. You have a bigger catch radius, so not surprised to see them use that time and time again throughout the course of this game. Last time we saw this formation, they ended up in Wildcat. What happens here?
And Butler out of the game. You saw him on the bike. 1st and goal from the 7. They shift everybody back just as they did before. And here it comes with Montgomery as the Wildcat quarterback. He's going to keep it here. And Oklahoma gobbles him up. But look at Montgomery push the pile. I mean, he was going nowhere, dead to rights. He just kept the feet moving. And gets it down to the 3-yard line.
They need to stay with that package and continue to just force the issue on the interior. Challenge the Oklahoma defensive line. Montgomery's such a good back, and he's so strong. You only have a few yards, and you're probably thinking 4-down territory here. So continue to try to pound it on the inside if you think you have an advantage.
Near 4-down territory, 2nd goal, 3-yard line, low snap. Montgomery breaks a tackle, puts his head down, and he's short of the goal line. Did well to get away from Curtis Bolton, who had him at the 5-yard line. So it's 3rd and goal on the 1-yard line.
Bolton's so good and quick, but just first defender, Tom, almost never brings Montgomery down. It's remarkable.
Right, it is remarkable. His balance is sensational. And to your point all day, he falls forward, so you're never getting negative yardage from him.
There are a couple extra offensive linemen in there to help block here on 3rd and goal from the 1. Montgomery over the top. Pay dirt. Touchdown, Iowa State. The Clones are not going away. 8th play, 75-yard drive in under 3 minutes. Connor Asali gets Iowa State back within 7 of the 5th-ranked team in college football.
Oklahoma is an elite team, one of the best in the business. But Iowa State has elite heart. They will not give up as they continue to fight back time and time again. 7-point Sooner lead.
The College Football Playoff lives on ESPN.
Iowa State will not go away, seeking back-to-back wins against Oklahoma for the first time since 1960. They continue to kick it short and force the Sooners to signal for a fair catch. This time they don't, and they move it ahead to the 35-yard line. Let's go back to the studio and check in with Cassidy.
Thanks, Dave. It's time for the PlayStation View multi-view with these 3 live games across the ESPN networks. Over on ESPN, Florida State struggling against 2-0 Syracuse. And on ESPN2, number 21 Miami in a close one in the 3rd. Busy week 3. Speaking of close games, back to you guys at Ames.
Interesting that Toledo's hanging around. And Oklahoma, Kyler Murray back on the field. 7-point lead over Iowa State, midway point of the 3rd quarter. 2 terrific coaching staffs, and that's on display today. Iowa State bringing some pressure here, and Sutton gets leveled behind the line of scrimmage. You had Harvey in there, Jake Hummel, whose dad was an All-American wrestler at Iowa State. That's big to get a negative play on 1st down.
Very big. Now this Oklahoma offense, they take 1 step back, they'll take 2 steps forward. They haven't had as much going on the ground as you would like. Here early in the 2nd half, had a really nice first drive on the ground. A second to go, but take a step back there.
Sermon, he's going to throw it. Instead, he gets hit, but he breaks a tackle. Lowers the boom on the defender and out of bounds at the 41-yard line. But there it is again. Missed tackle. Iowa State has a chance at another negative play. Instead, they give up 7 yards to Sermon.
Yeah, and make third down so much more manageable. A great play by Sermon, though, because Marquise Brown was getting ready to take the top off the defense. He didn't like it. Instead, he tries to get forward for a positive gain to set up a third and manageable. Now you can run it or throw it with Kyler Murray at the helm, if you're Lincoln Riley, the offensive coordinator and head coach.
Greg, they've been so good on third down today because of the dual threat quarterback. Murray. Open is Lamb. First down in Iowa State territory. Another dart thrown by Kyler Murray.
They have run this play 3 times on third down. You see those underneath crossing routes on the receiving end of the first 2 times they ran it. He threw it to Brown. This time he finds Lamb. Perfect throw right on the chest of CeeDee Lamb, and a good job by Kyler Murray stepping up in the pocket, locating his receiver, and throwing a decisive strike to extend this drive.
He's got almost as many touchdown passes as incompletions here in this ball game today. First down at the 47. Murray looking downfield. Deep ball. Pulled in inside the 20-yard line by Carson Meyer. His first career catch or rush in his 43rd career game.
How about the back shoulder throw to a fullback down the middle of the field? I mean, that is unbelievable. The only time I've seen a fullback catch the ball that far downfield was when Pat Mahomes threw a touchdown to one last week. I mean, that was unbelievable. And you get the smiles on the sideline. 43 games, first catch. His role is not overlooked, though. He's very important to this offense as he replaces Dimitri Flowers, who is exceptional over the last few years.
Meyer, a grad student, got his degree in finance. Back to the run. Great job by Sutton to keep his balance. He fumbled the ball. I thought he was down. No, they say Iowa State ball. And Sutton is shaken up. Braxton Lewis recovers it. Man, that looked like an ugly injury to Sutton. And it's Cyclone ball, another takeaway.
Sutton trying to find himself as he's going down. And he gets hit. Oh, you see that left leg just kind of fall underneath him.
He was down, though, wasn't he?
Looks like he was down. It looked like that elbow was down before the ball got jarred loose. Let's take a look at it one more time.
Yeah, he's down.
He's down right there, and the ball starts to move. Of course, it's
got to be indisputable.
Got to be indisputable video evidence given the fact that it was called a fumble on the field. But looking at it right there, it looks like the ball is still in his possession as that knee hits the ground and as that elbow hits the ground as well.
Well, and Oklahoma cannot afford another loss at this position, guys.
Good point, Tom, with Rodney Anderson out for the year with a knee injury suffered last week.
And you just hate that for him.
Ruling on the field of a fumble recovered by the defense is under further review.
Man, just hate that for him, trying to fight for extra yardage. Goes down and he gets hit right as that leg plants. And it's kind of hard to tell, but look at the ball here, all right? Is the ball moving right there, the nose that's close to the body? Is it moving before that knee or that elbow goes down?
I guess here's the thing, right? You can't go on opinion because it's got to be beyond all doubt. So if there's any doubt, if you're asking the question, did it move? It looks like it might have moved. You can't overturn it.
Correct.
There's Anderson, who again hurt his knee last week. He's had so many injuries. A bright young man that's a grad student pursuing a master's degree that's had to deal with severe injuries. And you hope Marcelius Sutton, after what looked like a vicious leg injury, is okay.
And you hope that. Gosh.
Anderson was trying to come up to the field, guys, and support his teammate. The officials sent him back. But yeah, this is getting to be a really thin group now for Oklahoma on the back end.
They do have a couple freshmen they like. We've seen TJ Pledger some this year. Kennedy Brooks, another freshman that they're high on. Here's the call.
After reviewing the play, the runner's knee was down prior to losing control of the ball. It'll be second down for Oklahoma at the 14-yard line.
So, and that's
the
what we
correct call.
felt, that it was beyond all doubt, the knee was down and he still had possession of the ball. So it's going to be second down for Oklahoma with the ball at the 14-yard line of Iowa State. 9 yards to go, leading by 7 outside 4 to play here in the third quarter.
You have to think now, with 2 running backs out and Sermon being obviously your most reliable ball carrier, do they rely a little bit more on Kyler Murray's legs to ice this ball game? A lot of time left, obviously plenty of opportunities for Iowa State to get back into it. A stop here could be huge. They have favorable numbers in the box to run it, though. See if they challenge him.
Play action. Murray to the end zone. Knocked down. Incomplete. Calcaterra, the intended receiver. DeAndre Payne stuck his hand in there and made sure Calcaterra wouldn't pull it in. Calcaterra with a 5-inch height advantage.
Man, they're lucky they didn't get a pass interference here. There was a lot of contact between Payne and Calcaterra there in the back of the end zone. If they would have thrown a flag, I would not have been surprised whatsoever. Instead, they opt to let him play, and Oklahoma has 3rd and long inside the red zone.
And if you're Iowa State, you can't have any more missed tackles on the perimeter. Timeout here by the Cyclones. That'll leave them with 2. 3:52 to play in the third quarter. The clock's actually still running, so a mistake here by the clock operator. They're going to have to stop it and put time back on the clock. They just caught it right now. Tomorrow morning on ESPN, kick off your Week 2 with Sunday NFL Countdown. A great story on James Conner. College football fans know that story well from his days at Pitt, overcoming cancer. Had a breakout performance last week with the Steelers. Tomorrow morning, 10 Eastern on ESPN, as well as the ESPN app. The Jets, a big story after their Monday night win in Detroit. You look at the history of their first-round quarterbacks, and hasn't been too good other than, of course, Broadway Joe back in 1965. Ken O'Brien had some good moments. So did Richard Todd. Chad Pennington turned out to be a solid pro. Mark Sanchez. But how about Sam Darnold? And after that first pass, everybody that's a Jets fan is like, oh, here we go again. But he bounced back, to say the least.
Yeah, he played very well. And Detroit looked just brutal under Matt Patricia, who's a Bill Belichick disciple. You should know that Jets team inside and out, having worked for the Patriots for so long. But Sam Darnold looked outstanding. I'm just a little disappointed he didn't put the 7th-round quarterbacks in there, too, that were drafted by the Jets over the last few years.
One win under your belt as a member of the Jets. I can't remember who that was against. Don't bring it up either. 3rd and 9 on the 14-yard line. Murray in trouble, running around, breaks a tackle, and here he goes. Iowa State able to string that play out. Willie Harvey, I mean, that ain't easy. Once he gets the corner, maybe he just ran out of gas because he was running around for 15, 20 seconds.
They were trying to go with a little screen play that they use all the time. They run CeeDee Lamb on a crossing route, and guys out in front, it almost becomes like a bubble, but it comes from the opposite side of the field. He was all covered up, and the pass rush was good. So a good job by Kyler Murray not forcing the issue and giving his kicker a chance for 3.
31-yard try by Austin Seibert. And Seibert is perfect. The lead back to 10 for Oklahoma. Well, the Oakland A's are so concerned with Kyler Murray getting injured that they said, you know what, maybe we just put him in a bubble. Then there's no way he could suffer at least an upper body injury. And so somebody thought, you know what, might be a good idea to do that with the announcers. So you'll see that shortly. But
yeah, they don't want him taking hits. Fair enough. We've seen his slide on display, though, so he's got that very well taken care of. He's taken a couple hits, but I'll tell you what, he wins more one-on-one battles than he loses. I can assure you of that.
He's pretty aware, though. He's got a pretty good feel for one to get down and one to hit the sideline.
Yeah, I didn't know, Tom and Greg, what to expect. I mean, you watched him on tape, and you remember him at A&M, saw him a little bit last year, but, man, he's much better than I remember in games we've seen him play in the past.
Totally agree. I remember watching him at A&M and being a little bit, okay, I get why he was hyped, but I don't see it as much. But saw him last year. and how he played in relief of Baker, and then you see him this year and just how much better he is now. I mean, he's a completely different player.
So it's going to be a touchback and hit the goal post. And it'll come out to the 25-yard line. So our two QBs in a Pash segment here, although the Pash didn't take part for many reasons. Look at this. Now watch.
Fraud.
Oh, my goodness. First of all, look at Mac. Look on the left. McElroy leaves his feet, and then Luganville might need to get checked for a concussion after that.
First of all, somebody led to the head or neck area.
That's true.
And David Ames, a few doors down from the booth with you guys, has suspended Greg for next week's half.
Yeah, I'm targeting. I targeted in the second half against Tom.
Target me.
Forcible contact to the head or neck area.
Nolan throws. It's low, but it's caught. Guys, next week, you guys are going to do this on Muscle Beach without the bubbles.
Sounds good. Look at this. All right, here you go. Go vertical. Tom, you're so scared. Look at him. Look at the head hit the back. Oh, my goodness, Tom.
The goal was to kick the ball and win. I win. And you're suspended next week.
Iwangu on 2nd and 3. Able to break one tackle. He'll be close to the first down. We'll spot him short. So 3rd and 1 coming up. Fans here didn't like that spot. He stepped out at the 34. How hot was it in that bubble?
Oh, not as hot as it is right now.
Yeah, it's warm.
I'd wear the bubble over this shirt and tie.
Yeah, heat index is 95 right now in Ames. And it's actually supposed to get hotter as the afternoon goes on. It's 1:40 local time, so on the field it's, you see, about 95. Huge 3rd down and 1 for Iowa State. Crony is in the backfield. They're going to give it to him, and he is stopped. Curtis Bolton there first, and so it's 4th down. You guys surprised that David Montgomery's not getting the call there?
I don't understand that for the life of me. I mean, I know that they want to get other guys involved. They want to feature different running backs, but David Montgomery is your bell cow. He's your workhorse. And on the most important snap of the game, you're down 10. You just held Oklahoma to a field goal. Feeling okay about the momentum. You put in a backup
who weighs less than Montgomery, as that is a poor punt that goes out of bounds. That makes no sense at all. Guy that forces all those missed tackles too in Montgomery on the bench on that play. Here's Cassidy in the studio.
Thanks, Dave. And now let's take a look at a performance above brought to you by Jersey Mike's. And we talked about Toledo keeping it close on number 21 Miami, while Malik Rozier finds Lawrence Cager. And the Canes are on top 35-21 after 3 over on ESPN2. Dave, Greg, Tom, back to you.
All right, Cass, in here it's a 10-point game. Oklahoma with the football back. 1:38 to go in the 3rd quarter. And they're looking still at that leg of Marcellus Sutton, who was injured on the last possession. And, man, I
just hope he's okay, man. It just looked so awkward as he was going down. And as we look to this Oklahoma possession, this is a spot where Oklahoma, they try to drive the nail in the coffin. They'll throw it over the top in a situation like this when they're trying to get some momentum.
TJ Pledger is in the game right now. And he gets taken down after a short game. Here's our Aflac trivia question. Two schools have won the national championship the year after losing a Heisman Trophy winner. Obviously, Oklahoma's trying to do that this year. Baker Mayfield to the Cleveland Browns and Kyler Murray looking to lead them back to the college football playoff and a national championship. Can you name the two?
Does it have to be immediately after?
It's the year after. That's the definition
next year.
of yes.
Okay.
Why?
Because that eliminates Mark Ingram in 2011 when Alabama won it. Got to think my way through it.
Play fake here from Murray, looking deep, now throws to the sideline, and that is incomplete. It was trapped by Marquise Brown. 3rd and long for Oklahoma.
Let's see if he caught it. And you can see that it hit the ground. Yeah, as Brown's trying to corral it. Just a little low. One of the few off-target passes we've seen from Kyler Murray today. Been very dialed in, especially on the intermediate passing game to the boundary.
Murray leaves the pocket. Throws back across the middle. Wide of the target. Incomplete. Tried to hit Marquise Brown again. 4th down. A rare misfire by Murray, especially on 3rd down where he was 4 of 6 before that throw.
And they've run this play over and over and over again. And this time, they get a little pressure up front. And it was a nice job by Iowa State, especially Jamal Johnson, big number 92, forcing Murray off his spot. He had a receiver open. He just wasn't able to get there in time. Finally located him late, but that window had closed by that point.
Seibert, the place kicker and the punter, gets off a good one. And it goes out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. You mentioned Jamal Johnson, our Extra Yard for Teachers Week, a week-long celebration of teachers led by College Football Playoff Foundation through its Extra Yard for Teachers platform. Jacob Erickson, who's a Department of Sociology professor, worked closely with Jamal Johnson, raised his grade point average from a 2.2 to a 3.2. And in talking with the coaches, they say the maturation in the classroom we've seen on the field as a player.
It's just amazing.
There's Jacob Erickson, professor for Jamal Johnson, who, by the way, Johnson's grandfather, Willie Jeffries, is in the College Football Hall of Fame, the first African-American head coach at a predominantly non-African-American Division I school, Wichita State, back in the 70s. Nolan going downfield. My goodness, receiver wide open. Past midfield is Landon Akers. He saw it earlier. It's a touchdown.
This is an aggressive group on defense. A little double move. You see Motley take the cheese on a little stutter go. Slightly underthrown by Nolan, but a good pickup nonetheless.
37 yards to midfield. Here's Montgomery looking for the cutback. Keeps the feet moving. On a hot day, it is taxing after a while to try to get him to the ground. He only picked up 2 yards. There's an injured Oklahoma player.
That's the run you wanted on 3rd down on the last series.
Dylan Famatau, the injured Oklahoma defensive lineman. But you're right on that throw. If that's, again, if he sees him a little bit earlier, gets rid of it a little bit sooner, throws it a little bit longer like he did in the first quarter where he overthrew a couple guys, that's a touchdown.
It's funny sometimes, though, when they're that wide open.
You don't want to overthrow?
Yeah, you for whatever reason, you just guide it in there. You can't. Leaving a guy short is totally understandable in that setting. And he just had so much space to complete that pass.
Well, think about our reaction, guys, had he overthrown him.
Totally. I mean, what is he doing? You know, it's easy. I mean, but it's one of those where he's so open. You just want to make sure you secure the completion. Getting the touchdown secondary, getting the big play is the first priority for this team.
So once they get Famatau off the field, you would imagine they'll run the clock here on the ready for play, and that will be the end of the 3rd quarter. After the way Oklahoma went into halftime scoring in the final seconds to go up 14 points, you wondered what kind of juice Iowa State would have in the 3rd quarter. They're still in it. They're on the move, down 10 as we go to the 4th here in Ames. And we'll be back with the 4th quarter after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Last game for Ryan Day as the acting head coach before Urban Meyer is back full-time for the Ohio State Buckeyes. A top 15 matchup tonight on ABC from AT&T Stadium in Arlington. You know there's going to be a good Ohio State turnout, so it's hard to say it's a home game even though you're 30 minutes from TCU. Iowa State, first play of the 4th quarter. Nolan out of the backfield, nearly intercepted. Kenneth Murray, the intended receiver, but a penalty flag in the backfield. Nolan was shaken up. So you can imagine that's a late hit.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 90, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's on Neville Gallimore. Big mistake there.
Yeah, this was almost a pick 6, and now it's a fresh set of downs. Gallimore clearly
4 steps.
This is close. I mean, that's the right call. It wasn't as egregious I originally thought, but that was the correct call. He did hit him a little bit late.
I thought it was like 4 steps, didn't you?
No, I thought it was about a step and a half. But it's still, I mean, he hit him late and he hit him hard. So it's the correct call and a good job by our officials.
First down for Iowa State on the Oklahoma 33-yard line. We were told we'd see some other quarterbacks today, but Nolan, hard to take off the field the way he's playing right now. 284 yards passing and 2 scores. He hands off for Montgomery here, and Montgomery tackled in the backfield. They'll give him forward progress. He kept the feet going. Either the whistle blew or they're going to say forward progress was stopped at the 34. It's a 1-yard loss.
It's not often that he's brought down for lost yardage. It appears that there's an injured player on the field, too.
Yeah, Josh Kniffel, the starting right guard for Iowa State. He's face first on the turf. Back in a moment.
The ESPN app now with ESPN Plus. Get more ESPN and download now.
Josh Kniffel was shaken up on the previous play, got bent back by a defender. So he's on the sideline for Iowa State on a 2nd and 11. Colin Olson is in to replace him right now. Iowa State down 10, early 4th. In trouble as the quarterback Nolan gets the pass away. Now we'll see what they rule here. He appeared outside the tackle box.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. The quarterback was outside the tackle box and threw the ball beyond the line of scrimmage.
Amani Bledsoe with pressure. It's 3rd down.
You have a new right guard in the game, so what do? Why don't you attack that right guard? Number 63. You can see him. Olson, he slides down with that little twist game, and next thing you know, Bledsoe comes right around the outside. So a smart play call by Mike Stoops to attack the new offensive lineman that just stepped into the game.
3rd down and long. It'd be about a 50-yard field goal try from here, and it's going to be a shot to Butler down the field. He can't get there. Incomplete. Maybe overcompensated after the underthrow at the end of the 3rd quarter. Butler was shaken up earlier, having trouble getting back to the sideline here.
Yeah, they're not leaving Butler in one-on-one anymore. As you can see, Houghton tried to get over the top, and they had him covered, obviously, underneath by Trey Brown.
Hey, Greg, why on earth are they not punting the ball on 4th and 11 at the 34? If it's too long for the field goal kicker.
I think they're going to quick punt. Maybe quick kick it here.
Yeah, I'm surprised, too.
No, they're going to go. Nolan on 4th and 11. Shut up pass. Great catch by Eaton. The pass a little behind him, but he still made the grab, the move, the chains. They pick up 4th and 11.
They must know their defense is going to have their hands full if Oklahoma's offense comes back on the field. Did he secure that catch? It looks like he did.
Ooh, I thought they snapped it before the whistle.
The previous play is under further review.
But I'm with you. It looked like a catch, and what a catch
There
by
is no
Matthew
foul.
Eaton.
The game was stopped prior to the snap.
It was behind him. He juggled it, and it appeared that he pulled it in. Let's see.
Look, does that ball, does he secure it without it touching the grass?
And it can hit the grass as long as you maintain control. If you control it, it can hit the ground.
Correct.
And so is there indisputable video evidence to overturn that?
There's not to me. And catch no catch is one of the most controversial rulings that you have in football, not just in college, but we all know the long list of issues that the NFL has had with it as well, and they've tried to just institute a lot more clarity as to whether or not it's a catch or not. But man, it can go either way sometimes. You might have 100 officials in a room, 50 will think it's a catch, 50 will think it's an incompletion. Based on the fact that it was called a completion on the field, I have a hard time thinking that they're going to do anything but let the play stand. They would say play stands is called, won't be confirmed, it won't be changed. It'll just stand because they don't have enough conclusive evidence to overturn.
And either Matt Campbell, guys, had no confidence in his punter. Clearly didn't think the field goal kicker could make it, but I mean, to go for it on 4th and 11 when you're still in the game.
Yeah, 2-score game with a ton of time left, but he must be looking at his defense and saying, hey, we might be a little out of gas on that side of the ball. And given how explosive this group can be, we got to take a chance.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field of a completed pass is confirmed. First down.
So they get confirmation because, again, if it hits the ground, as long as you don't lose control, it's a catch. And to your point, if he doesn't have confidence in defense, whether you give it to him on the 5 or the 35, at that point, does it really matter?
And with this group, it doesn't matter. It's Oklahoma. It's one of the most explosive offenses in all of college football and has been for a half decade. So maybe if it's playing against any other offense, you do punt it. But against Oklahoma and Kyler Murray, probably best to leave your offense on the field and get aggressive with it.
Now they got to pay it off here with points inside the red zone on 1st and 10. David Montgomery off the left side. Shoves a defender with force as he's pushed out of play. Trey Norwood went backwards on that play. How many times do you see a defender on skates after a stiff arm?
Yeah, that's pretty strong right there. I mean, and he didn't even get full extension.
Zeb Nolan's got to be very careful here, guys, because they have to come away with points on this drive. Can't take risks with the football down here.
2nd and 9 at the 17. Nolan making his 2nd career start because of the injury to Kyle Kemp, the normal starter last week at Iowa. Nolan looking. Dangerous pass, but still caught by Jones, and he gets the first down. It was almost picked off. Instead, it's 1st and goal, 11 yards.
Man, what a great angle by Radley Hiles. Just not tight enough. What a throw by Zeb Nolan.
They go up tempo. Montgomery hit in the backfield, and down he goes. They rule that he's down at the 9-yard line. Khalil Houghton on the stop. So it's a loss on the play of 3 yards.
Ruling on the field as the runner was down by rule.
Watch the forearm here of Montgomery. He lands on a player, but right there he's down.
Right elbow down. I appreciate him getting up and trying to sell it.
Yeah.
Why not? But good job by the officials seeing that elbow go down and whistling it dead. And a good job, too, by Houghton getting in the backfield and bringing him down at first contact. That doesn't happen often, but a nice job.
Here's that crazy formation where they shift into the Wildcat with Montgomery. 2nd and goal from the 9-yard line. Montgomery keeping it, hit in the backfield. In trouble. Can't stiff arm his way out of chaos back at the 14-yard line. Brought down by Gallimore. And so now you're 3rd and goal on the 14. How do you handle this?
You've got to be really smart if you're Zeb Nolan, because this drive absolutely has to end in points. Considering it is a 10-point game, a field goal is not the worst outcome. So you have to be really smart with the football. And if I'm Oklahoma, I want to drop back. I want to play zone coverage. I want to have as many guys in the passing lanes as humanly possible. And I don't want to put my corners and safeties in one-on-one coverage against these big wide receivers.
They've had luck with Butler over the top. We go over the middle here on an underneath route. Jones down to the 4-yard line. Okay, you probably have 3. Do you want to risk it and go for the touchdown? No.
No, you got to kick it.
Got to kick.
Absolutely have to here. And a good job not putting him in harm's way. A 3rd and 14, 3rd and 13, and goal. Just the likelihood of getting it is so incredibly small, and especially with a guy that's only making his 2nd start. Don't put him in harm's way. Throw it underneath. Maybe you break a tackle. Maybe you slip and score. But at least you protect the opportunity to try for the field goal.
34-yard attempt, or excuse me, 22-yard attempt. He made a 34-yarder earlier. And it's a 7-point game. Little surprised we didn't see any shots to Butler against the smaller corner on that 1st and goal. Iowa State take it, though, back within 7.
College football on ABC is presented by Walmart. Discover more ways to shop at Walmart today. And in part by Pacific Life. Experience the power of Pacific.
Iowa State beat 2 top 5 teams a year ago, including Oklahoma and Norman. TCU here. Prior to that, they'd won once in their history against a top 5 team. Can they do it again against the Sooners and do it with a quarterback who has very little starting experience? Kyle Kemp last year had never started For Zeb Nolan, this is just his second career start. Iowa State going to put it in play here to Brown. They've been kicking it away from him. They give him a shot. And he's finally wrestled down at the 28-yard line. Our Pacific Life game summary. With Oklahoma leading 34-27, Kyler Murray's been brilliant. Marquise Brown, Hollywood with a $191 and 2 touchdowns. And Nolan, 321 yards through the air, 2 touchdown passes.
Yeah, his performance should not be overlooked. I think we all kind of expected Murray to have a performance like that. Not surprising to see Hollywood Brown play so well, but Zeb Nolan, in only his second start, to play with such poise and to make the accurate throws that Oklahoma's forced of him, been pretty remarkable.
Murray, a design quarterback run, has the speed to get the corner. Past the 40, and he steps out, eluding the hit at the 43-yard line. The future Major League pitcher. It was the number 9 pick by the Oakland A's. He's an incredible athlete and picks up about 15 there.
Yeah, you wonder now, with the game that's still in balance, will they run him a little bit more on this drive?
Take some time off the clock. He's going to throw it here. Long pass back to Sermon. And he's able to power through and get positive yardage. Marcel Spears couldn't wrap him up at the line of scrimmage. Still, it's a short game.
Have to be impressed with the most part with how well this offensive line has held up. Now, there's a lot of times when you look at Iowa State defensively, they're going to drop out and they're going to only rush 3 defenders. As a result, Kyler Murray should have ample time, but sometimes when you have 5 guys blocking 3, there's some leakage. There hasn't been much today, and when there has been, Kyler Murray's been aware of it, has negotiated the rush, and find both throwing and running lanes.
Marcelius Sutton is back on the field right now. He's going to block here as the quarterback Murray able to shake a defender. He's at the 40-yard line and slides again. He's down where the ball is, which is at the 40. Scampers for 18 more yards.
This is just a little wrap play. Little inside zone with a wrap lead. He takes it out to the perimeter. Very wise, too, to know where he's at on the field. Slide, stay in bounds, and make sure that clock continues to wind. 7-point lead with a lot of time left, but you can still be mindful of the operation and making sure that clock continues to roll.
It's going to be Sutton getting the call here. And he gets dropped after a gain of 2, and then a little pushing and shoving afterwards. Remarkable that Sutton is back out there. Suffered an injury that looked awful at the time. They were checking him out on the sideline for a while. Great to see him back out there, though. You see he's still hobbling a bit. He'll go to the sideline now for 2nd and 8.
Yeah, and he's got that spat on his left ankle, so something to monitor. Might not be as fast from an agility standpoint side to side with a hurt ankle, but the straight line speed will still be there for Sutton if they need it.
Approaching 8 minutes to go in the 4th. Inside the Iowa State 40-yard line. Sermon gets a block. Gets the first down. To the 29-yard line. They're really getting some good blocking on the perimeter.
Really good blocking. And but Oklahoma's receivers aren't very big. It's not easy to hold up blocking at the point on a perimeter run like that for as long as Hollywood Brown just did. Now, the guy he's blocking is Brian Peavy, and he's only 5'9", 194, but still, to hold up that long when you're not the biggest or strongest guy in the world, you're more known for your speed, it's pretty impressive by the dynamic playmaker that the Sooners have at wide receiver.
Yeah, for Brown, that's going up against a heavyweight. He's a $168, so 194. That's a mismatch. Here's Sermon, huge running lane. Flag comes down. Sermon still going at the 10, at the 5, and out of bounds. Got a penalty marker thrown in the area of offensive holding. If that is on Oklahoma, it negates a huge run by Trey Sermon.
Holding offense number 75. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
That's Drew Samia, the right guard.
Yeah, and you can see the run through, and Drew Samia is actually trying to save a life. You see him pass it off right there, and he rolls down on top of it, and the official can see it very clearly. Samia, as they're passing it off, see those arms wrap around, and the official's going to get that every single time. Good call. It's kind of tough considering the defender was falling down for Samia. You feel bad for him because it really wasn't an egregious hold that would stand out in most cases.
Now it's 1st and 20. Back at the 39-yard line. Murray pulls it back, throws a bullet, caught at the 25 by Calcaterra. The arm talent of Kyler Murray on full display today.
And the awareness, too. I mean, Calcaterra, that window was not very big. He actually had to hold up Calcaterra because Greg Eisworth, the safety, is about to crush him. If he throws it out in front, Calcaterra's getting crushed. So he holds him up a bit, back shoulders him a touch, and as a result, Eisworth hits him in the back as compared to the chest, which is a much more secure way of absorbing a blow like that.
So they get 13 yards on 1st and 20, continuing to take time off the clock as well. Murray keeps it to the 24-yard line, so he gets only 2. Braxton Lewis makes the play. 3rd down and 5.
Now in this situation, almost every single time, Oklahoma's been in 3rd and medium, which is right here, 3rd and 5. They've run crossing routes, and they've thrown it to one of their wide receivers over the middle of the field. That area of the field has been vacated multiple times today by this Iowa State defense. So let's see if Kyler Murray tries to find one of his wide receivers in this vicinity right here.
And Oklahoma's going to have to call a timeout. They were about to bring CeeDee Lamb in motion. And Lincoln Riley stepped on the field and called for time.
This is the face of a man.
Welcome back to Ames. Our Aflac trivia question answer. 2 schools have won the championship the year after losing a Heisman Trophy winner. The answer? In 1988, Notre Dame. Tim Brown won the Heisman the year before. 2003, USC. The year after Carson Palmer won the Heisman Trophy. Meanwhile, here in Ames, Oklahoma by 7 with a 3rd down and 5 at the Iowa State 24-yard line. Kyler Murray has been brilliant in his first collegiate road start. What's he got here? He'll throw. And he's got a man. It's caught for a 1st down by Tease, who had a touchdown earlier. He's out of bounds at the 16-yard line for 8 yards.
Just a really good isolation route. Just a little Ohio, little 5-yard out route by Tease, who's got great sudden agility, working against Arnold Azuna there in the slot.
That's a long throw too, Greg.
That is a long throw, and it's a dangerous throw.
Yeah.
Anything inside, if Tease won convincingly on the route, but anything inside, that can go the other way. It's a really nice throw to get it out in front, to hit Tease in a catchable spot right in the chest.
And now they take some time off the clock with the lead. They snap it with about 5 on the play clock, and they just run it. Sermon up the gut. Picks up 1 to the 15-yard line, hit by Uwazurike. 2 timeouts remaining for Iowa State. And obviously Oklahoma in field goal range, so they got to imagine Lincoln Riley's going to be careful here with what he calls, right?
Yeah, and they got to milk every second of this play clock.
And this is where Oklahoma has such an advantage over most of the Big 12 because their offensive line is so elite. Usually throughout the Big 12, you don't see as many great offensive linemen. You see good athletes, you see a great tackle here, maybe a good center here, but collectively as a unit, there's no one in the Big 12 that's as good as Oklahoma. So putting games away is where they've really excelled in the last 2 years.
Murray in trouble in the backfield. They sack him back at the 25-yard line. Jamal Johnson. Spencer Benton was back there as well, but it's Johnson that gets the takedown and a loss of 10.
Man, a huge play. They tried to go with a little quarterback counter. You see the fake throw to the right, trying to run it to the left, but they cut him off. As a result, Kyler Murray reverses field, where Johnson is waiting for him with his arms wide open. Matt Campbell likes what he sees from the defense, forcing a big negative play.
Let's see if they run it here to take time off the clock, or throw it, try to get the 1st down and 3rd and 18 through the air. Be about a 42-yard field goal from here. They are going to keep it on the ground, and And there's no running room. In fact, Sermon loses a yard at the 25. Now they've got an excellent kicker, and Austin Seibert. Going to try to make it a 10-point game. It's going to be about a 43-yard try, so no gimme. That was a 7-minute, 15-second drive.
At least they got it to the middle of the field, though, for this attempt.
Iowa State's bringing in some length. Matt Leo, 6'8", number 89, trying to block this field goal.
And Seibert hooks it in. It's good. And the lead is 10. Looked like that started outside and swung back. Good. 37-27, Oklahoma.
Austin Seibert has been so good over the course of his career. Never a doubt for Lincoln Riley as his team leads by 10.
Today's Player Spotlight brought to you by Discover. Kyler Murray, his first road start, and he was almost perfect. 348 yards, 3 touchdowns, seemed to make all the right decisions. And Oklahoma leads by 10, inside 3 minutes to go. They will come out to the 25. No one thought about it and then took a knee, so it's a touchback. Let's check in with Cassidy in the studio.
Thanks, Dave. DirecTV, more for your college football thing. And you may remember that Troy upset LSU last year, looking to do the same to Nebraska today. B.J. Smith with his second rushing touchdown of the day, and the Trojans drop Nebraska to 0-2 on the year. And coming up next on ABC, number 6 Wisconsin hosting BYU. Jonathan Taylor had 253 rushing yards last week. What will he do today? That's at 3:30 Eastern on ABC. Guys?
Taylor's so fun to watch. He ran wild on everybody last year. Meanwhile here, Iowa State just trying to get something on this drive. Then look for the onside kick. Nolan from his 25 over the middle. It's caught. Pulled in by Milton. Going to be just short of the line to gain, so the clock's still moving.
You don't have to be crazy aggressive in this setting. You have 3 timeouts, plenty of time. Be mindful of where the defenders are and make sure you see the whole field.
In trouble, Nolan steps up and throws it away. Good job by Nolan there. Get out of trouble and make sure that he threw it out of play. So it's 3rd down and 1. Nolan has played really well given the circumstances. The starter, Kyle Kempt, who was the hero last year in Norman when Iowa State upset the Sooners, he's hurt, can't go today. Nolan starts and has played great. And he completes the pass for a 1st down to Matthew Eaton, the guy that he threw to on 4th and 11 on the last drive. Clock stops to reset the chains.
And they don't need to be in huge hyper-speed tempo just yet. Just need to stay in a nice rhythm offensively and make sure you get a correct play call.
Nolan to the sideline. It's caught, and then Jones steps out of bounds. That'll stop the clock. 2:02 to go. Again, 2 timeouts left for Iowa State.
If you're Oklahoma defensively, you've got to start protecting the sidelines with your corners, forcing everything to the inside. Can't allow those intermediate throws to the sideline.
And just gave up 8 yards rather easily. 2nd and 2. Boy, it took a long time there to snap the ball. The clock started on the ready for play. Now it stops because of the false start at 1:49. Maybe, huh? Coming over for an explanation here. I wonder if there was some confusion over when the clock was supposed to run. Were they still outside 2 minutes when he went out of bounds? And then also, you saw him look the way of
offense number 54, 5-yard penalty, say 2nd down.
And then you also saw him look over in Lincoln Riley, but it's just a false start. So clearly they felt that they were outside 2 minutes when Brown went out of bounds, and so the clock ran on the ready for play. Cost him 13 seconds and 5 yards. So it's 2nd and 7. Nolan, and that was behind the intended receiver. Incomplete. 3rd down and 7. 1:40 to go.
And now you got to start pushing the ball down the field a little bit. I mean, you haven't done a ton. Obviously, it's 3rd and 7. Making sure you keep the drive alive is the most important thought. So make sure your receivers are aware of the yard to gain, and they got to get to that 50-yard line for a fresh set. So be mindful of that.
Nolan to the sideline, caught for a 1st down. So Jones able to move the chains.
But he didn't get out of bounds.
Right, so the clock will start on the ready for play.
Wow.
When they get the chains lined up. So now it's moving. It'll cost him about 6 seconds. Nolan again to the sideline. Now you got to get out. Jones does. Now the clock will start on the snap.
Yeah, and if you're Oklahoma, you give that up all day long. Hey, 6 yards, you can have it. All right, that's fine. You can have that 6 yards. That clock's still running. And at some point, we're going to squat on that hitch route on the boundary and knock it down, or potentially pick it off to put the game on ice officially. You have to, at some point, take a shot down the field. You have favorable down and distance here on 2nd and 5. Still feel good about coming back on 3rd down and getting it. But you have big wide receivers. Give them a chance to go up and make a play in the end zone or at least close to it.
On 2nd and 4. Nolan facing pressure, gets hit. Ball flutters, nearly picked off. It's dropped by Curtis Bolton. Would have been a game-ending interception. Kenneth Murray blasted Zeb Nolan.
Yeah, just brought right around the left-hand side as he runs around Julian Good-Jones, the left tackle. Timed it up well, and Bolton, man, he'll catch that 9 times out of 10. That's one that just sticks with you as he went up and tried to put this game away. Good pass rush there from Oklahoma.
So 3rd and 4. Not in field goal range yet. Really, they don't know what they have with their field goal kicker. Not a lot of attempts. In trouble, Nolan throws it up for grabs, and it's intercepted. Parnell Motley, who's been targeted all game and beaten often, with likely the game-ending interception.
And that was all created by the pass rush. 2 consecutive plays in which defenders were right in the lap of Zeb Nolan. This time, it's number 55, Kenneth Mann, as he slipped inside. Julian Good-Jones on consecutive plays giving up pressures. This time, it is reeled in by an Oklahoma defender. And this defense steps up when they needed it most. Wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but they made the plays necessary when the game was on the line. Credit to Motley. It's not where you start the game, it's where you finish. Had a tough day, really tough day, missed some tackles, gave up some big plays. But he puts a little cherry on top of what was a bit of an up and down performance with the nice interception to secure the win.
This will be 17 consecutive true road wins, the longest active streak in the country. Sermon straight ahead. Iowa State will call a timeout here, or will they? They have 2 left. Tonight on ESPN, Nick Saban, number 1 Alabama, in Oxford to take on Ole Miss at 7 Eastern time. Ole Miss did beat Alabama in 2014 and 2015, so you never know. But, man, that tight offense is as good as any in college football.
Ole Miss is one of the few teams, though, in college football that says, hey, we'll take the battle to you. We're going to go score some points. And we might not be able to stop you, but we're going to score some points. So that'll be an interesting, high-scoring game there in Oxford, I would imagine.
Matt Campbell says, you know what, we're done. We're down 10. I'm not going to use a timeout. So Kyler Murray takes a knee. And Oklahoma, the 5th-ranked team in the country, moves to 3-0. The Sooners have Army next week, followed by Baylor. They have to go to TCU and to West Virginia the day after Thanksgiving. They've got a player that looks like he can help them win anywhere against anybody. And Kyler Murray. Let's go to Tom.
Well, Coach, you kind of expected this type of game back and forth. How would you just describe the resiliency of this football team?
Yeah, there was a lot of big momentum shifts. You know, a couple of turnovers were big momentum shifts. We had some key stops there, you know, especially there at the end of the game defensively, big field goals. So it was a heavy hitter. You know, we knew they weren't going to lay down. Our kids fought. We didn't play perfect, but we enough to get a win on the road, which is always good.
From a defensive perspective, did you feel like you improved from first half to second, certain things that were deficient?
We tackled better, no doubt. They made some great throws and catches. I mean, give Iowa State credit. We had some that other than the double move, we had some that we had covered pretty well. They made great plays on. So that's what happens when you play good teams.
Real quickly, how impressed were you with Kyler Murray's performance today?
He played well. He played within himself, ran well, threw well, continues to play well for our team.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks, Tom.
Kyler Murray threw for 348 yards, 3 touchdowns. He rushed for 77 yards. Now check this out. This is crazy. First 3 games for Mayfield last year, the Heisman winner, and the first 3 games for Murray this year. They're off by 1 yard. Same number of touchdowns responsible for.
Absolutely amazing. The only difference between the two is that Baker went number 1 overall, Kyler went number 9. That's the only difference between the two players. Outstanding performance from the Sooner quarterback.
Different sports, of course. One NFL, one Major League Baseball. All right. It was fun. Oklahoma survives 37-27 over Iowa State. Let's send you to Kevin Agandi in the studio.
Dave, thank you so much. Coming up, Tanner Magnum ready to go. BYU on the road at number 6 Wisconsin. That game just minutes away here on ABC. Keeping an eye on another Big Ten team, Nebraska at home against Troy. Their opener with Scott Frost, they lost their quarterback Adrian Martinez, and they were in trouble against Troy. This is Sedarius Ruckert, special teams in Troy. How about this on the road doing something in Lincoln?
Well, they did it against LSU last year, but they got blown out early against Boise State at home. So that makes this Boise State-Oklahoma State game today something we really need to look at. But you lose your starting quarterback, it can get you in trouble. It's hard to come back.
You go with a freshman walk-on Andrew Bunch finding Stanley Morgan Jr. And you're feeling like maybe the Cornhuskers within 10, JV, they can come back, right?
Yeah, they can come back, but Troy was, frankly, just as athletic as Nebraska. I mean, that's why they were able to stay in this game and win this game. There was no talent or difference in talent.
A stunner. Scott Frost now 0-2 as the head coach. He was 24-2 as a starter at quarterback for the Cornhuskers. Here's another stunner. Florida State just can't get going. Taking on Syracuse and Willie Taggart, you got to be wondering what's going on. Tommy DeVito going in for the Cuse, and we could not find any offense for the Noles in this one, Mac.
No, Florida State can't move the ball. They were 1 of 13 on third downs. They were only on the field 54 plays. Their defense played really well, Jonathan, but they gave out.
Yeah, they got tired. When your offense is that pathetic the whole game, there's only so long that you can hold up defensively.
Well, big win for Dino Babers. Let's give Syracuse the credit they deserve.
And Florida State has beaten Syracuse 10 straight times going back to 1966, and they are about to lose that game in the Dome. Here's our Saturday slate. Of course, Boise State at Oklahoma State coming up next on ESPN. LSU Auburn circle there on the Plains. But our next game, BYU Wisconsin. What kind of game do you expect to see in this matchup in Madison, especially on the offensive side, Matt?
These two have similar philosophies. They've got the big offensive lines. They're going to pound the football and use play action.
Well, Wisconsin has to get ready. This is the most aggressive defense that they face. BYU's aggressive. They have 8 in the box. They're going to test that run game and test the offensive line for Wisconsin.
There'll be no dodging in this game.
Is this all going to be Jonathan Taylor? Just give him the ball left, give him the ball right?
Well, now Hornibrook has to make a few key throws to loosen the defense, but